last time I looked, unless there's been any more recent bids. X, there you go. Okay, that's what I thought. Pretty appropriate, because that's the game I'm playing. Anyway, I'm going to start now.
One with $3.
$3, yes. Very impressive. Alright, well, here we go. So, yeah, I'm playing Pokemon X instead of Y just because that's the version I have. It doesn't actually matter which version you play in this game. They're both counted as the same category. But there's very little difference between the two games. Not really enough to make a difference for speedrunning.
Yeah, the amount of how much it has mattered has gone down a lot over the years. Or, not so much a lot, but it used to matter a bit in the late game.
It's important I pick the girl. So let's be sure to do that. It's important to pick the girl here because of a rival battle later on. Your rival changes whether you're a boy or a girl, and the stats of the Pokemon they're using will change. So it's important I pick the girl for that reason, just for one particular fight. Now here we go. We're going to enter the Kalos region. These are the first main Pokemon games on 3DS, so you'll see quite a difference in graphical style if you're used to the earlier, more two-dimensional looking games. Main difference for playing is that you have more than 4 directions to work with in this game, so you're going to be able to go diagonally as well. Anyway, first thing I'm going to do is change my options here. There we go, I set my text speed to fast, and turned my battle scene off. There's actually going to be a donation incentive for turning that on for the champion battle, just like they forced you to do in the original Red and Blue. So if you want to see that, then feel free to donate towards that incentive. And then I also turned the battle style to set, which means that after I KO a Pokemon, they won't ask me whether I want to change to another Pokemon in my party. And then I also set L equals A. That's more of a comfort thing. Basically, even when you set your text speed to fast in this game, you can actually advance it even faster by holding one button through the text and mashing the other. And then text goes at 8 characters per frame if you do that, as opposed to 4 characters per frame. And this game runs at 30 FPS.
Yeah, a lot of the old games you could only go at 1 character per frame at most. From basically Gen 5 onwards, or at least this game onwards, and Gen 5 in battles as well, the text has gone a lot faster, and that does make it a bit harder to mash optimally, but it helps out our sanity when there's a lot more text in general.
Chespin nickname's coming up, by the way, just very shortly, so if I can get that so that I can nickname my starter, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'm just looking up the animations for Champion Battle. We are currently at $155. The incentive is $500, so we've got 345 to go. What's
Chespin name? I think it was this last time I looked. See if it's still that.
So what was it you wanted to name?
Chespin.
Chespin is currently at $25 for Laz, L-A-Z.
That's what I thought. So this is the only glitchless Pokemon speedrun that you pick the grass starter for. This is a glitchless run, by the way. I know it says any %, but there aren't any time-saving glitches in this game, so this is going to be a glitchless run. Yeah, grass starters are notoriously not very good, but just because their type, the grass is just not a very good type, basically for attacking or defending, to be honest. So it's just generally not good. But Chespin is actually pretty good early on. It's got really nice attack, best attack out of all the starters, so it can beat everything up pretty nicely. And also it gives your rivals Pokemon that are easier to defeat later on. So the first battle is against Shauna, Now in this game they start you off with your elemental attack, which is Vine Whip for me. So they give you the first trainer you fight a Pokemon that's weak to you. So I'm going to hit it with Vine Whip for super effective damage. And we'll have a look at my stats. They're not too important for this run, but what I'm looking for is 13 attack and 11 speed at level 6, ideally. Let's have a look. Okay, so I got the 11 speed, which is nice, because that's going to mean that I can run away from pretty much every encounter. Chespin's not a very fast Pokemon in general, and but I didn't quite get the 13 attack, so that means that on the next trainer battle, I'm not going to be able to hit the Zigzagoon most likely, unless I get a critical hit or something. But yeah, the starter stats don't matter in general because I don't actually use Chespin for that long. I mean, yeah, even though it's the game where I finally get to choose the grass starter, it doesn't get that much action, unfortunately.
Yeah, there'll be a total of 4 different main Pokemon used through this run if we count Chespin. Although Chespin is used for the least amount of time in total. We'll be ditching him by around the 20-minute mark, probably more like the 15-minute mark.
It'll depend on encounter luck, I suppose. Alright, well, let's be on our way.
Yeah, this game uses grid-based movement apart from when you're on the roller skates, which we'll get to in the next town.
Also when you're on the bike, so that's quite nice. It's just when you're running that it does the grid-based movement. You get a forced encounter here. It's always a Pidgey, but with my speed I should be able to run away. If you've got low speed, then these encounters can be faster or be the same speed as you, and then you have a chance of failing to run. But with 11 speed, I'm not worried about that. So now my buddies here are going to teach me how to catch some Pokemon. Lucky guy gets a Bunnelby first try. If only I could be that lucky. You can tell this guy's not a speedrunner because he has animations on. And he only has attack speed on medium. Not doing it right, Kalen. So yeah, pretty basic. Weaken Pokemon, chuck balls, and hope they get in.
Going with the usual later gen trend of the catching tutorial guy having a ton of Pokeballs though, in this case he's got 50.
Yeah.
That's a lot of Route 1 Pokemon he can catch.
Clear out the whole place, probably. And the forest. But yeah, I also need to catch a Bunnelby here. It's actually not for an HM slave, and I'm not gonna be using it in battle either. It's gonna be another reason. Hey, look at that, first try. That's pretty lucky. There's only 20% in this grass. There are a lot of Pokemon on this route. Now I can just chuck a ball at full HP and it'll always get in. This is just a feature they added to the early routes in these newer games. When you go through them for the first time, you can just catch anything at full HP with one Pokeball. So there we go. Pretty lucky there. I'm not going to nickname this because, I mean, it's not really going to be used, but it is very useful.
It's a bit of an odd addition considering they literally just taught you how to weaken Pokemon first, but...
To be fair, Kalen does say if you chuck a Pokeball at a Pokemon on this route, you can probably catch it, but people probably would just interpret that as a throwaway kind of line. Anyway, at 11 speed, I speed-tie this Zigzagoon. Unfortunately, went for Growl turn 1, so this might still be a 3-hit. Well, okay, he growled again. Never mind. If I can get a critical hit, that'll break through my attack drops. What critical hits do is they do an additional 50% of damage And they also, if you have like lowered attack, or if your opponent has higher defense, it'll act like that's not there. But yeah, a bit of a slow fight. Nothing you can really do about that.
Would you maybe have time for a donation?
Sure.
We have an anonymous donor with $10 saying, is anyone else excited for the new Pokemon game for the Switch that's going to be announced next year?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what that's going to be. It'll be exciting, definitely. So this forest is, I'm told it's kind of like a callback to Viridian Forest in its layout. I guess I kind of see it. Kind of. I don't know. That's what I'm told, anyway.
Oh yeah, besides the positioning of the grass, layout is pretty much the same.
Oops, I went through a bit of extra grass there. My bad. Like I say, I'm not really worried about not being able to flee from these guys because I've got pretty decent speed on this Chespin. Oops. Kalen tries to give you Pokeballs there. You can run under him if you do it right, but I did it a little bit wrong. So here's everyone's favorite Pokemon, Pikachu, with everyone's favorite ability, Static. Which means that if I attack it with a contact move, which Vine Whip is, I have a 30% chance of getting paralyzed. That's going to come up again and again throughout the run. There it is, there's Static, but it happened the last turn, so no big deal. There's a few abilities that activate on if they get hit by contact moves. Static is the main annoying one, but there are a few others.
You can see there that Chespin just learned Rollout. If we were going to keep using Chespin, then he would actually still be the best starter to get past the first gym just because of that move. Fennekin, you'd think would be good against the Bug Gym, which is the first gym, but because there's a Surskit at a fairly high level as the gym leader's first Pokemon, Fennekin kind of gets walled, and Froakie just can't really do any significant damage. So Chespin actually beats the gym the fastest, but we aren't even going to use Chespin anyway, so in the end the starter choice isn't all that relevant. Just for the reasons that Garth mentioned before, we still pick Chespin.
Yeah, I did do some routing as to how fast it would be if you like kept using Chespin, but like but you need better luck, you need good stats, and like even then it's still about 40 seconds slower than what I'm going to be using instead. Oh, that was... I moved a bit... I was still a bit nervous, I guess. Just moved a bit wrong there. What you're supposed to do is go in the grass so that you don't... hit these guys. But I just moved a little bit early there.
Yeah, he's trying to move diagonally to take as few steps in the grass as possible, but if you get it wrong by one tile with the diagonal movement, then you'll just straight up hit the trainer. Not that he's a threat at all.
No. I'm not worried in the slightest. Just a bit of early nerves, I guess. I'm not going to bother healing paralysis either. I do have a paralyzed heal because Shauna gave me one in the forest, but I would rather not use that because I really don't need. Really don't need to. Like that was like this. Like the battle with Pikachu was supposed to be the last one with Chespin. There we go.
We have a donation, if that's all right.
Yeah.
We got a $25 donation from Zach Cat.
Oh, Zach Cat. Hi, Zach.
First-time donator, long-time Garf fan.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Shout out to Lack. Save the Marie Popo. Kill the Dio.
Yeah, Zach is. Zach's been a friend of mine for a while. Shout out to LAC. Anyway, this is the reason why we caught Bunnelby. I'm going to actually trade with this guy for the most unlikely main you've ever seen, Farfetch'd. This is basically, like I've always seen Farfetch'd as like the joke Pokemon of Gen 1, you know, comes with its own garnish and everything. But here it is in a starring role. Who'd have thought it? But it comes at level 10 when you trade it. In previous games, when you traded a Pokemon, you get the traded Pokemon you get would be at the same level. But oh, hold on, I actually need to switch Farfetch to the front first. I don't want to forget that. But yeah, this time you get it at level 10, and the stats of this Farfetch'd are, some of them are fixed. It always has a Jolly Nature, which increases speed by 10% and decreases special attack by 10%, and it also has 31 IVs in speed. Oh, that was a one-hit. That's not common on Zigzagoon, so I've probably got some pretty nice attack on this Farfetch'd here. And yeah, IVs stand for individual values, and it goes from 0 to 31 in every stat, and each IV gives you 1 stat point at level 100. So they make less of a difference early game, well, to your stats, but like even a difference of 1 or 2 in stats can make a difference in these fights. So here's the first gym. I just need to follow the dewdrops to avoid all the trainers I can avoid in this gym. And then you'll see like why Farfetch'd is good for this gym here. Basically just going to be spamming Aerial Ace, which is a 60 power flying type move. And with same type attack bonus, which that's a mechanic that when I use a move that matches the type of my Pokemon, it gets a 50% boost to its power. So it's basically, Aerial Ace has got an effective power of 90, if you like. So yeah, this trainer just goes down easily to 2 Aerial Aces. And here's the gym leader, Viola. Gonna be a similar story, just spam Aerial Ace.
Yeah, she at least has a Pokemon that can survive a single Aerial Ace, but hopefully not 2.
Hopefully not. We will see about that.
Yeah, that Surskit isn't a threat to Farfetch'd. It doesn't have the defense to survive an Aerial Ace.
This though, I'm hoping it doesn't go for Harden, which will increase its defense. Well, it did it right away. If I can get a critical hit, then it'll still take it out and do hits, but otherwise it'll survive and Viola use a potion. By the way, I turned battle animations on, but it keeps them on for like trapping moves like Infestation that do damage to you at the end of the turn. So you get to see Farfetch'd do a bit of a funny animation there. So yeah, 4-hit Viola is not very good, but there's nothing you can do really about Harden. You can try and Leer to lower its defense again, but it could easily just use Harden, which would raise the defense again and render your Leer useless. Gonna learn Knockoff here, 65 powered Dark Attack, just basically for coverage against a few electric types I'm gonna be facing, which are going to resist my flying type Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace is definitely still gonna be my primary move.
Yeah, you have Fury Cutter as well, but that's a little too situational for Farfetch'd. In general, we can kill things faster without it.
Yeah, I think if I have lower attack, then Fury Cutter can be useful in one fight, but I don't think I'm going to be using it because my attack's pretty good on this Farfetch'd. So it'll probably not see any use, sadly. Fury Cutter's quite a cool move, but it's a bug move, starts at 40 power, and then it doubles to 80, and then again to 160 when you use it in successive turns, but it's not going to see any use here, I don't think. I'm going to pick up some X attacks from this guy and some X defenses, You don't really use many X items in this run. X items raise your stat, when you use them as an item in battle. But I'm going to be raising my stats using something a bit more potent.
Yeah, in general, all the main Pokemon that we have from now on are all really fast, so we don't necessarily need X speeds. And for offenses, there's something more useful coming up.
You'll see I've got the skates here, so I can move in. I can move like more freely now, so I'm not really restricted to the grid. And skates have this mechanic where they'll have this like boost mechanic where if you push the circle pad hard in one direction, you do a little boost, and you have to sort of keep doing that now and then. There is a way to maintain it, but I find it hard to, when I'm turning, to maintain the boost. If I do it that way, I'll see if I can show it off in a straight line. Basically, you have to push the control stick hard in one direction, and then you kind of have to hold back a little bit, and then your character will do like what the game calls a parallel swizzle, which is just a little. Well, I mean, I'll see if I can show it off here in Laverre City when I'm going to the professor's lab. There it is. The game really doesn't want you to get lost here, I suppose. Can you go in a straight line to the lab? Let's find out. There's the swizzle, there you go, that's what it looks like.
Do you have time for another donation?
Yeah?
We have another donation from Zach Cat, another $25. He says, "Hi, it's me again, just donating towards making sure that Lucha knows the Chinese secret of winning."
Oh man, I think I know what that means. So I'm not going to see Sycamore right away. I'm going to talk to this scientist. She's going to give me some luxury balls. This is going to be important later on because the Hawlucha that I'm going to be catching needs to have... I need to raise its friendship to a high enough level where I can get a really powerful item called the Lucky Egg, which boosts the amount of experience I get. And I need to basically use all the tricks in the book to get that friendship level up there. Using the Lucky Egg. Catching a luxury ball is just one of those little things I can do. So I'm actually going to fight Sycamore right now. And he's going to show off the Kanto starters. I probably don't need to save here, but I'm going to anyway, just in case something terrible happens. Saving's really fast in this game, so you don't lose a lot of time by just hitting that button.
Yeah, the problem with losing this fight is that the game just carries on, but you don't get the money. And that's not something you really want to happen.
Yeah, you need the money and you need the experience, really. So on lower attack, that Bulbasaur's a damage range, that's where you'd use Fury Cutter just to finish it off, and then you'd have like a slightly more powerful attack going for this Squirtle. But because I just knocked out in one hit, I can just hit it with aerial aces instead. And I got a critical hit there, so I was able to 2-hit KO the Squirtle, even though it raised its defense with withdraw, so that's nice. You'll notice that Chespin's gaining a few levels. That's because I got the experience share earlier, which is a key item in this game, and if you leave it on, the Pokemon that didn't participate in battle get 50% of the experience that they would have gotten had they participated. But I'm not turning it off right now because I'm going to want it on later, and it's just not worth turning it off at the moment. So there you go, that was a pretty smooth fight against Sycamore. Now I can choose whichever Kanto starter I want. Now it doesn't really matter which one I pick, but just because grass starters don't get a lot of love in other games, I'm going to pick Bulbasaur. I'm not nicknaming this because it doesn't really have a huge role in the run. And I got a free Mega Stone as well, Basically, this section of the game at the start is basically he tells you about this cool new feature called Mega Evolution, and he's asking us to investigate. So that's what we're going to be doing for the next little while. Now we're going to meet this unassuming gentleman right here. Mild-mannered environmentalist, Lysander.
Yeah, with that hairstyle, you can pretty much assume that he's going to be someone important in the plot. And the fact that he's also, like, much taller than anyone else you've met apart from maybe Sycamore.
Yeah, we will meet someone even taller than this guy later on. Look forward to that. This game likes to... At this point in the game, they like to sort of throw cutscenes at you, one after another. Tiano is going down that street, even though we can't for some reason because of the blackout. So... yeah, I don't know. Where's my main character privilege? So I'm going to deposit my other Pokemon here. There's going to be a double battle, which is basically 2-on-2 later on, and I can skip that if I deposit my other Pokemon, so I only have one left. I'm going to sell a few things here because I really need the money. I have a little more than I'm used to because I hit that trainer, but it didn't really make a difference. And here's what I'm going to be picking up. This is a really, really nice move, Sword Stance. It raises my attack by 2 stages, which basically adds 100% to the damage I'm going to be doing with physical moves every time I use Sword Stance. I can, my attack stage can go, the stages of my stats can go up to +6, so I can use Sword Stance 3 times before my attack maxes out.
Yeah, one more gen, or the next gen, the X items were actually buffed to have the same effect as moves like Sword Stance, so they raise your stats by 2 at once. But they also become a lot more expensive and are also not all that available. There's only a few shops that sell them. In any case, it's only +1 here, so Sword Stance is clearly the superior option.
Yeah, the only place that sells X items in this game is actually the town, the Laverre City, where the first gym was. If you go in there, you get a cutscene anyway, so it's just faster to get Sword Stance and much better as well. I mean, you'll notice that Sword Dances, if you played the previous games, you'll notice that Sword Dances was quite expensive as well, compared to a lot of the earlier TMs, and that's because TMs, which stands for Technical Machine, they're reusable now, so you can teach the same move to as many of your Pokemon as you like.
Yep.
And I'm going to be making use of that throughout the run.
That's still pretty much the cheapest price you can buy a TM for in this gen. And for Sword Stance, for that price, that's a pretty good deal, honestly.
Yeah. Gonna meet this Lucario here. No foreshadowing whatsoever going on here, definitely not. This is Karina, the 3rd gym leader. We'll be facing her a little bit later on. You'll see the double battle I'm skipping. That's the one. Alright, so I'm going to use my repel that I picked up way back then, and now I'm going to teach Sword Dance to Farfetch'd over Fury Cutter.
Yeah, all 3 remaining mains will learn Sword Stance.
I'm gonna fight Tiano here. His quirk is that his Pokemon all have dancing moves. He only has 1 Pokemon right now, so he also must have picked up the TM for Sword Dance from Lumiose because his Corphish knows it as well. But you'll see just how fast these moves are in this game, these status moves, because the text is so fast. You just hit Sword Dance there, and you know, my attack is just doubled, just really, really fast, much faster than using an attack. So you just layer sword dance and then Corphish goes down.
Yeah, Corphish's defenses aren't too bad, but when you layer in sword stance, you're doing 3 times the damage you otherwise would, so gets rid of it straight away.
Yep. So I can just avoid like all the trainers on this route if, apart from Tiano. There's a lot of routes like this, which is one of the big reasons why the second gym leader is so tough for a lot of your early game options. Basically, the reason why I'm even using Farfetch'd in the first place is because I can't beat the second gym leader with any of my starting options. So it's basically the problem becomes rather than what can I use to beat the game fastest, it's what can I use to get up to the second gym leader the fastest. And it turns out, you know, Farfetch'd is the better option there. Picked up a star piece there. That's for... I'm going to sell that for a lot of money, and then I'm going to buy a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, a great deal of the routing in this game has gone into the segment coming up, like beating the second gym, and then the point after that to a lesser extent. But beating the second gym has been the polarizing point of the route for pretty much since the game was released.
Learning a bit more, we're just trying to learn a bit more about Mega Evolution here, but this guy doesn't know anything. But it turns out we landed right in the middle of a problem instead that we're going to have to try and solve. But first, I'm going to pick up a few more items. This girl here will give me some berry juice. When a Pokemon's holding berry juice, if it gets below, I think half, it'll eat it, and then it will restore 20 of its HP. And before I started the run, I set the date to the 14th of March. If you set the date to the 14th of March or the 14th of February, that girl gives you 5 sweethearts instead of 1. And sweethearts are another tool that we use to increase the friendship of your Holucha. And I don't set it to the 14th of February because that's actually my birthday. And if you go in the Pokemon Center on your birthday, you get a nice cutscene, which you want to avoid. But it wouldn't have mattered on this is not actually my 3DS, so it wouldn't have mattered on this. I kind of hope Ginny's birthday is not the 14th of March now. Well, I mean, it's not because I've already been in the center and the cutscene didn't play. Now I'm getting the Oran Berry from that girl, which I wouldn't normally do on record attempts, but it's nice to have for a safety strat against the second gym leader. So this guy demands 1,000 Pokédolls to get in, but he lets me off because he takes pity on me because I'm poor or something. So, because I spent all my money on repels and healing items and stuff earlier on. So you can get through here if you have less than 1,000 with no problems. Basically this whole thing is so that we can get the Poké Flute to wake up Snorlax. And then we'll be able to go past him and continue on our journey.
Yeah, there are a few ways you can soft lock Pokemon games, like in a glitchless sense, by running out of money to get past a place that needs money, because only trainers and items will give you money generally. Of course, later on, as the games went on, they found out about these soft locks and tried to stop them by letting you pass the paid barriers for free. This is just the most extreme example where they'll let you off completely scot-free regardless of your money.
Little puzzle here where I just have to corner Furfrou because his owner lost him. So I just have to position Shauna there, and then Furfrou will run up. And then I need to position Shauna somewhere else. just around here. And I try and put her in the middle because if I don't, then she'll just move to the middle if I talk to her somewhere in that square. So it's fastest just to position her there and then talk to her. If you have any more donations, this is a good time because there's a lot of running around not doing very much in this section. Oh, I just pick up a candy here, which increases rare candies increase my level by 1. And I'll be picking up a few of those.
We have no donations, but remember there's still an incentive, so keep your donations coming in for that.
Yeah, you can also name the Hawlucha and the Laverre still.
Yeah, and the Lucario as well. Name all of those. And I think a lot of those are only contested by 1 name at the moment, so... Well, at least they were before the run. I don't know if that's changed at all. So, you know, definitely potential to get your name in there, if you'd like.
Yeah, Lapras was the most contested before he started the run, so you can definitely get your name in for one of the 2 remaining main Pokemon. Lapras might be a little more tricky.
So we get some fireworks as our reward. You can get these during the day, which I always thought was a bit strange, but I did set the time to night. I'll explain why I set the time to what I did when it becomes more relevant. So after all that, finally get the Pokeflute. And the TM for Protect, which I'm not going to be using. So now we can get back on track, continue with my journey.
Yeah, Protect is the kind of move that would only really see any use in a speedrun if there's a lot of double battles.
Yeah. There are a few in this game, but certainly not enough to warrant the use of that. And I think, yeah, all the double battles you're in, you don't have control of the second Pokemon on your side because your partner is like you always, the double battles are always with a partner. Right, I actually just want to get off the skates and go on the right here because I want to stay on this path on the way back. Because staying on that path means that trainer doesn't see me, but it also means that I don't get encounters jumping out at me from the hedge, which I would if I was in the grass. Snorlax opened its eyes wide.
Well, maybe not really. They still look pretty close to me.
Snorlax is very slow, so I can always run away from that. This game really doesn't want you to miss this this stuff. Got to show you the daycare, even though neither of the characters who come in there are interested. They just leave right away. Like, who does that? You go in a place, say, I'm not interested in your services, and then leave. But yeah, you remember Pokemon battles, guys? You remember those? We do actually have another one coming up. I know it's been a while.
Yeah, apart from running away from the Snorlax, it has been a while. There was the Tierno battle a while back, but since then, pretty much nothing.
Now I'm using a Super Potion here instead of a regular potion because a bit later on I'm going to be wanting to keep my HP kind of low to set up a Death Warp. So that's why I'm keeping the potion, even though a potion would have healed me to full there. I also gave myself the Berry Juice because this battle, you can take a fair bit of damage here, and it's nice to have that. It's nice to have the Berry Juice so that you can heal up without actually having to waste a turn using an item.
Farfetch's early game dominance is fading off a bit at this point, having set up quite a lot to do too much damage.
There's that Berry Juice. This might not kill Corphish. I was hoping Fletchling would attack it again. Well, it did just there with Peck. Cheers, Fletchling. And with my attack at +4, I can KO Trevor's 2 Pokemon. Hoping not to get static here. Well, Fletchling got static, that's fine. Even if I do get static, it's not a big deal. His last Pokemon can't really do too much to me. And I didn't get static, that was a good fight actually. Went very well. The Kalem's starter has evolved into Breaks, and you actually won't be seeing any evolutions this game, at least not in the traditional sense. You'll see a few. I see a couple of mega evolutions here and there. This PP up is again something else that I can use to increase my friendship. So picking up all of those kinds of items. I was at pretty high HP, but I'm going to heal anyway. Just for safety, this is a pretty quick free heal anyway. So I feel like I might as well.
Yeah, PP up can serve a few purposes. Obviously you could use it on an actual move if you had your final main at this point with a move you're going to keep. That isn't the case, so it would be either for money or happiness at this point, and in this case, happiness becomes the most important part of the route.
Again, I picked up an HP up there for a similar reason.
You actually see PP ups used for all 3 of those purposes across the various Pokemon categories.
So just here I'm going to be popping into the Pokemon Center and then immediately leaving. This is going to set my warp point. I'm going to Death Warp here, probably. I'm probably going to Death Warp here a bit later. There are some circumstances where it's fastest and not Death Warp, but that's hopefully not going to happen. You'll see why. You'll see why I need to do why the Death Warp would be faster as soon as I go on the next route, basically. Here it is. You know, apparently Rhyhorn racing is a thing, but you wouldn't think it by looking at how you traverse this route. This is as fast as you can go on Rhyhorn. You don't want to have to go all the way back to Ambret Town on the back of Rhyhorn. Now, even though I have repels up, I can still get encounters here. This is the point where, because I've just skipped so many trainers, Farfetch is starting to get out-leveled by these Pokemon, because repels only work on Pokemon that are lower leveled than you. But I still keep my repels up because there are level 15 Pokemon on this route, and repels will get those away, but unfortunately I'm getting a few high-level Pokemon here.
Of course, now you've made it off this part, you go into a cave where repels wouldn't work no matter what your level is.
Yeah, there's a few shadows here. Basically, I think I've gotten between 2 and 5 shadows between here and the inner part of Glittering Cave. And some of the encounters are quite scary. Onyx is pretty fast and can hit me with a super effective rock-type attack, but I was able to run away, thankfully.
Yeah, nothing here is ridiculously fast, but there are a few things that can outspeed your Farfetch'd, and as soon as an encounter outspeeds you, it tanks the run chance to, I think, below 50% on the first turn, instead of being 100% for anything you're faster than.
But something like Cubone is never going to be faster than me, so I can just run from that immediately. I'm going to take a little detour right here. The actual way to go is just to continue straight along that path. Another Onyx. But I'm taking this detour because there's a youthful TM down here.
Nothing too bad so far. It does help that Farfetch'd has that 31 speed IV and the plus speed nature. It means that even the faster encounters like Onyx do need to at least roll decent stats of their own to outspeed you to begin with.
Okay, that was only 3 encounters. That's pretty good for that little section. Now we're going to get introduced to the evil team of the game, Team Flare, who are kind of, I think the idea of them is that they sort of dress fancy, but they're actually pretty goofy, which I like, actually. I quite like the goofier villains in Pokemon games. I like it when they don't take things too seriously.
Their resemblance to the redhead guy from earlier is purely coincidental.
Oh, yes. It's good. That Houndour can poison me with Smog, but it didn't go for it there. It just went for Howl, which is the best thing it can do.
We have some donations, if that's okay.
Sure.
We have another one from Zach Cat.
Wow.
Quick question: what is Laverre spelled backwards? Answer: hopefully the name I donated for. And Volagin. Hey Garth, super happy to see you get the game run at ESA. Best of luck on the run. I'll be cheering for the first ball. Holuchi, is that correct?
Holuchi, yeah.
Yeah. Bonus shout out to Dobo, the bomb stew or whatever. But yeah, remember guys, there's incentives as well. I believe it's to add animations to the champion battle. Is it? Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So if you really want to slow down the runner, you should totally go for that.
Yep.
Be hilarious.
Do.
And remember bid wars. Keep them coming.
Of course it won't bust Thief the Champion battle, will it? Because there's another battle after that.
There is one after that, yes.
Where we won't be able to turn it off, so you actually get 2 battles for the price of 1.
There you go. You need any more incentive. Now I'm going to have to heal here because Electrike knows quick attack and can kill me from this range. So I'm just going to heal again. This fight didn't go so great. I got put to sleep by Yawn, then I got poisoned and I had to heal a fair bit. Yeah, and it went for quick attack there, would have killed. Quick attack is like a priority move, so it goes before. Even though I'm faster than Electrike, it goes before my moves just because it has that priority built in.
Still, having the poison isn't too bad.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to play this next fight. I'm gonna try it at this health. I may well die though. If I do, I'll either see if my rival can win on his own, or I'll reset and try again at higher HP. Because you want to be at low health after this fight, but you don't want to be dead. Because if you die and your rival wins, after the fight, your Pokemon's back at full, which you don't want.
Yeah, obviously we want to Death Warp out of here. Unfortunately, the poison in this game doesn't actually hurt you outside of battle, and even if it did, it would probably let you survive at 1 health, as they did in Gen 4. But it can still be useful inside the battle to let your Pokemon die as quickly as possible.
Yeah, it doesn't look like I got attacked this fight, but I'm glad I didn't heal at least, because that means I am at least at about half health, and that's gonna help a little bit with the Death Warp. What I need for this Death Warp is I need there to be a shadow here, just like a little circular shadow on the ground. I didn't see one in the first spot there could be. There's 2 more spots after this. I'm just gonna be a bit. There's one, so I can get an encounter there. That's good. Sometimes you don't get any shadows here at all, and you have to go back to the winding section of Glittering Cave to get the encounter for the Death Warp.
Yeah, but with the poison you can reliably die to pretty much any encounter, so even if it's not something that's overly powerful offensively, you can still Death Warp within a few turns.
So I'm going to do that Death Warp right now. I'll either get Woobat or Ferroseed here. Woobat has... Well, Woobat's a more common one, and it has 3 attacks out of 4. Hopefully it hits me with Heart Stamp, that's its most powerful attack, but it went for the one non-attacking move it has. Come on, hit me with Heart Stamp. Okay, Gust isn't bad. I'm going to die the next turn regardless of what it does because of the poison damage. Alright, well, that's not bad. 3 turns. Would have been nice had I got Heart Stamp, but nothing you can do there. So now I'm back at the Ambret Pokemon Center. Skipped the whole trek back on Rhyhorn's back.
Yeah, you would be able to get out of the cave itself straight away with an escape rope, which is right there, but the whole trek still takes way longer than just letting the poison kill you off in the shadow encounter, even if the Pokemon itself is not all that cooperative. The Woobat did attack once, and I think it saved 2 turns. He would 2 extra turns he would have had to wait for poison, but...
Yeah, I wasn't really paying attention. It sounds about right there. I got the Rock Smash TM from that girl in Ambret Town, which I'm going to need regardless for smashing 1 rock at the end of the game, but I might also need to teach Hawlucha Rock Smash depending on what level it is. Depending on whether it's Forgotten Karate Chop or not. And I got another candy there on the beach, which I'm going to be using on Hawlucha as well. Hawlucha's coming up very shortly. Well, at least I hope it will. It's, yeah, I'm just, this is, the Hawlucha section is the most luck-dependent part of the run, really. You have to find a Hawlucha, which is a 20% encounter, and then you have to catch it in a luxury ball before it knocks you out. So this is where the buffer time in the estimate is. This is what the buffer time in the estimate is built in for. Get the bike here, which is, which I much I much prefer to the roller skates because there's no boost mechanic. You can just move really nice and quickly. Get some soda pops from this girl. They heal 60 HP and pretty fast to get.
Yeah, ideally he catches the Hawlucha by around the hour mark to give the best possible chance for a good setup for the happiness, but it's very unreliable, so...
Before I catch Hawlucha, I'm going to be... Well, I mean, I might catch Hawlucha in this grass, but I'm going to be heading to the next town. Oh, look at that. There's Hawlucha right there. Alright, let's see if it gets in then. I'm just going to chuck a luxury ball. And if it gets in, that'll be amazing. I did not expect this. 1. Ah. Alright, we'll try again.
Well, Lucha will normally kill Farfetch'd in 2 hits, so the better play is usually to just chuck the luxury balls and hope instead of trying to weaken it, because one of its other moves is Roost.
Oh, wow. That's first encounter, second ball is really nice. That was something I was not expecting at all. Now, almost all Hawlucha are runnable. I just need to make sure that its HP and special defense are good enough so that it survives a hit from Kalen's Meowstic in the Tower of Mastery. Actually, this came up faster than I thought, but I'm going to have to nickname this now, so sorry for the no warning. I didn't expect to get it this quickly. But what's the Hawlucha name?
Just checking for you now. We got ZSRL for $5.
Okay, it was all caps, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Alright then.
So, first encounter Bunnelby and first encounter Hawlucha.
Yeah, what the heck? This is crazy. Okay, I got Unburdened, so that means I'm going to equip the... Actually, these are good stats, I think, as well.
Yeah. It's not minus special defense and it's level 20, so the stats are definitely good enough defensively. If you get a level 20, then it has to be minus special defense for the special defense to be a problem.
44, 37, 61. This is really good speed as well. So that's about middling attack and slightly lower than average defense, but really good speed, so I'm pretty happy with that. Especially since I got it first encounter. Because I got Unburdened, I'm going to give it the Oran Berry, and I think that's it, right? No, I have to give it Candies as well. There we go. So again, I'm going to go in here and go out again, set up a Death Warp. The reason I'm doing this Death Warp is because after you beat the second gym leader, some Team Flag grunts appear on this route, so you can skip them by going here before they spawn, and then afterwards just... Oh, I want to dodge her. And then afterwards just Death Warping. There's a hidden X speed around there that I would normally pick up, but my speed is so good that I don't need to do that. I'm going to get the Massage here. The reason I set my time to what it is so that ideally I would like to get one Massage on this day and then have it roll over to the next day after I've beaten Grant so that I can get a second Massage, because she only gives you one Massage a day. But because I got Hawlucha so quickly, I kind of doubt that's going to happen because I put a fair bit of buffer into the time I set, and because I really didn't expect it didn't expect to catch Hawlucha that fast.
Yeah, I mean, he could wait around to get the second Massage, but at that point you may as well just go and do other things which can probably raise your happiness by more in the same amount of time, considering just how fast that catch was. It was, I think, buffered to beat Grant around the 102, 103 mark, and this should be a couple of minutes ahead of that. A couple of minutes, you can do a lot during a couple of minutes. That is probably better than getting a haircut. Or a second Massage, rather.
Yeah, I mean, you just... I'm... Like, it's quite likely with all the other things I do that I just get into the friendship required anyway, even without the second Massage. If not, I'll... just moving around can increase your friendship, so I'll do that. So I'll just move around a bit if I can't get it. I need to switch Farfetch to the front for this fight. I'm going to save in case something goes wrong, but it shouldn't do. And this is the wall, basically. This is what required all of this early routing. Grant's first Pokemon is level 25, Rock Ice type, and Laura. It has this ability called Refrigerate, which changes normal type moves to Ice type moves and increases their power by 30%. And it also has Takedown, a 90 power normal type attack. So it hits you with a 117 power Ice type attack, and that's before same type attack bonus. So it's ridiculously strong. And lower its defense with Lair. That means that, and that's going to mean that Hawlucha can take it out with one Rock Smash.
Yeah, it's high enough level that you need that defense drop, even though we're hitting a 4 times super effective move with same type attack bonus of its own.
So, because I equipped the berry and I have Unburden, what that means is that he's going to drop my speed twice with Rock Tomb, which generally means that it'll be faster than me, but because of my Unburden ability, when I use an item, my speed gets doubled, so I'm faster than Tyrant again, and I can just knock it out with a Rock Smash without healing.
Yeah, if you don't have Unburden, you would heal there, and it'll change to other moves because it's now faster than you, but unfortunately, pretty much all of the moves it can pick can flinch you, so you can kind of get trapped in a bit of a healing loop, but generally it doesn't end up being too bad because I think you can take 2 hits before you have to heal each time.
Yeah, you can take a few hits, and it can go for Bite as well, which is not very effective. He can go for Stomp or Bite, both of which can flinch you. I'm not really sure why he even goes for Bite, but he does sometimes. So I can check my time quickly, but I really am not expecting to be able to get the second massage. I should have checked it while I saved before. Oh, never mind, I can get it.
Yeah,
That's nice.
I guess the delay before we started the run, or before he started the run after changing the time was just enough. But yeah, 0, 0, 0, so it's the next day and the massage is available again.
This ether there, that's going to restore my power points, and that's going to be useful at the very end of the game. It's going to be a while before I need that. If you run out of power points for your moves, you can't use it anymore, so it's nice for that. And that was a decent massage because she said somewhat more friendly instead of a little bit more friendly. So I'm not worried at all about my friendship anymore. I should definitely be able to get the Lucky Egg. I might not even need to pick up the iron, but I think I will just in case.
This Masquerain is pretty well equipped to kill Hawlucha, and Hawlucha does come in at fairly low health from the gym battle, but it can still mess around a bit. Its AI isn't all that smart.
Yeah, like Gust would probably have killed me there, but it decided to go for Quick Attack instead. You're going for Gust, Bubble, goodness sake, just do something. But it still took 3 turns. Like all of the moves it uses against you can at least do damage, so there's that. And now I'm back at Geosend and I've skipped those Team Flag fights on Route 10.
You lose a tiny bit of happiness from having your Pokemon faint, but it isn't anything crazy. Like, it's not going to single-handedly stop him getting the Lucky Egg later.
Yeah, it's a tiny amount. It will rarely come into play. And again, I deposit Farfetch here because there's going to be a double battle in Reflection Cave that I can skip if I just have one Pokemon.
We have some more donations.
Okay.
Anonymous donated $6 to say next time it will be for Le Grand Pizza. Potato Ninja says for $1 says he's looking for Amanda Hug and Kiss. He says I'm looking for Amanda Hug and Kiss. Why can't I find Amanda Hug and Kiss? And Cryrenix.
Sirenic.
Sirenic, that's the one. $1. My previous donation didn't show up on the list. I still want to encourage GarfieldTheLightning to do his best RNG. Teofina, is that correct? Telefina. And I are watching in anticipation to things such as you know what.
Well, he probably meant me failing to catch Hawlucha for a while, but the joke's on him because I got it pretty fast. This Lucario is doing much more damage to me than usual. He either went for Sword Stance and then used Feint a few times, or I think he used Power Up Punch as well, actually, raising its attack even more. But I'm not worried about the second one. I should be able to KO it with Rock Smash because I got that level up to level 23, and attack is not the only thing that increases the damage you do. Just by being at a higher level, if your level goes up to a number that ends in 0, 3, 5, or 8, you sort of go up to the next little tier of level-based damage. So you do a little bit more damage just by virtue of being higher leveled. So I'm gonna heal up here with a soda pop.
Yeah, Glittering Cave, apart from having the gimmick of the mirror reflections, also has some pretty threatening trainer battles in it.
Yeah, you'll see that I actually gave Lucha the jaw fossil there, and I'll explain a bit more about that later, because it seems like a bit of a strange thing to do, since it doesn't actually have any in-battle effect normally. This guy, I'm hoping I get the... Rock Smash has a 50% chance to drop the defense of your opponent, so I'm hoping to get the defense drop so I can do its Lightning. Actually, that was a critical, so I didn't even need that. Wing attack should kill from there. This is... Now, I did I did teach over Aerial Ace instead of Wing Attack, which... and I do that for PP reasons, but Aerial Ace can never miss, so like in that situation it would have been nice to have. But this is the reason I just gave the jaw fossil. I'm going to learn Fling here. This is a little... Holucha learns a few neat tools to beat the things that would normally beat it. And Fling is one of them. It's a dark type attack, but it only does damage if you're holding an item and you basically throw that item at the opponent. So if you're holding a jaw fossil, it's a 100 power dark type attack. So that's going to be useful for the next trainer.
Yeah, coincidentally there aren't any Pokemon that will need fighting moves to kill for a bit, so for the time being you make do with Wing Attack and Fling as offensive moves. Encore is actually very useful in a fight coming up, and Sword Stance is obviously going to be handy in general.
So I can use Fling here. If I caught a level 19 Holucha, I'd still have Karate Chop for this, and I wouldn't have learned Fling yet, and that would have killed as well, because Helioptile is an electric normal type. This Grand Ball will take 2 hits, but it's not going to be able to kill me from here. Yeah, even a critical hit I would have survived.
In this game when you use Fling, you get the item back at the end of each battle. You can only use it once per battle though.
We got a couple more donations.
Okay.
We got one from JT Magic Man
Hey,
for $5.
JT.
From JT, good luck on the run and the menus, Garth. Glad to see you doing well at ESA. And $20 from Omega Revolution. That's Holucha luck. Though good luck for the rest of the run, Garfield.
Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah, JT, well-known Pokemon speedrunner, and Omega has dabbled in it as well, but mainly in the most recent gen of games.
I'm gonna save for this fight because I can die. This is the trainer that you teach Fling for. He leads with a Chime Echo, which doesn't die to a +2 wing attack and can 2-hit you with Confusion. Now, Confusion is a Psychic type move that has a chance to confuse me, and if that happens, I basically have to try and hit through Confusion. Okay, thankfully I didn't get confused. If I get confused and hit myself, I lose that turn and I do damage to myself. But thankfully, Confusion's side effects did not trigger, so I was able to get through this fight nice and easy. Good stuff. A bit scared of this guy. I probably could have gone past him, but...
Another double battle. Oh, there's the double battle skip.
That's the one. Yes, that's the. They're looking at the mirror, but they can, because it's a mirror, they can see you if you try and go past them. All right, here we are in Laverre City. I'm going to get another nice item here, which is also going to help with friendship. This is the Soothe Bell, and then if I give this to Holucha, my friendship gains will increase. So I'm going to give the Soothe Bell right away, and then I'm going to use all those items I picked up. I'm going to use the PP up, HP up, protein, iron, and well, I can use Sweethearts also to pop at this stage. That's fine. I want to heal to full though, definitely. For this next fight, I mean, I know I was only 4 HP off, but But I really want to be at full HP for this next fight, just so that my rival does what I want him to do.
And yeah, you want to use all 5 sweethearts at some point anyway, so there's no real gain or loss to using them to heal like 4 HP or 20. You get the same friendship regardless.
Yeah, I mean, if I was at lower, like, the way friendship works in this game is there are certain friendship thresholds that once you pass them, certain things that increase your friendship, like, increase them by less than they used to, but sweethearts always increase by 1, like, before getting boosted by things like the Soothe Bell. So it's nice to be able to use those later, so that the earlier things you do to increase your friendship have more of an effect. Things like, because it's not just the things that, like, giving items and stuff. Just walking around increases friendship, as well as leveling up. Just things that you would do by playing the game normally.
Yeah, but walking around is... I'm not sure about this game. In some of the other games it's random every so many steps whether it'll give you a happiness point or not.
Yes, that's the case in this game as well, and that's basically where a lot of the variance comes in when it comes to getting the lucky egg. It's just like, did you get the random friendship increases from walking around, or did you just get unlucky? So I keep going back and forth on whether it's worth doing the double massaging runs or not. At the moment I'm thinking no, but there have been a few times where I haven't gotten the lucky egg right away because of it.
Yeah, this run with the... Okay, the first massage was bad, but with the decent massage second time, between all of that you'd think this should be okay at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not worried at all. I don't think there's any chance I'm not going to get it. Now this fight coming up is where I make use of Encore. Kalen's first Pokemon, Meowstic, is going to be using a move called Fake Out, and that will... What that does, it's a priority move, so it'll go first, and it will flinch, which means that I'm not able to do anything, but it's quite a weak attack. It only works on the first turn. And Kalen's Meowstic also has Psybeam, which will do a huge amount of damage to me, so I can use Encore to try and lock him in to Fake Out. Normally I would use an X speed on this fight because Meowstic is faster, but because the Hawlucha I caught was so fast, I don't need to do that at all. I can just Encore straight away. So I saved though, just in case he decides he doesn't want to go for Fake Out.
Yeah, the reason... We were talking briefly about HP and special defense earlier, and needing a certain amount to survive Meowstic, because if it can kill you with a Psybeam straight up, it might just try to do that instead.
Yeah.
You can see it's level 28, which is actually quite high level for this point.
So now I'm set up to +6. This probably won't kill in one hit, but that's fine. I can just take it out the next time. So yeah, Encore just renders that fight trivial. I really like Encore. It's Hawlucha's just got those neat tools that it can beat what you would expect to counter it.
Encore makes another appearance in Gen 7 as well.
Oh yes. Yeah, I put Encore in there as well. Not sure everyone thinks it's worth it, but I think it's worth it, and it's a lot of fun anyway.
Yeah, for this game, for this route, it's pretty much absolutely necessary. Beating that Meowstic without Encore would be quite the mission.
Yeah, I don't think you could use Hawlucha for it. You'd have to find something else.
Yeah, they used to use, back before Hawlucha was really discovered at all, there was a Pokemon called Golett, the kind of ghost ground Pokemon that was used for this part of the game, and that could take on Meowstic fairly capably, as well as the gym coming up, but it lacked in other areas, and Hawlucha is just overall better.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is it was workable, but pretty slow. Its speed was quite low. It didn't learn Sword Stance, and Like, it could beat fights, it just couldn't beat them very quickly.
I think there was only one Pokemon in this whole gym that could actually deal damage to it, though.
Was there? Which one?
It might have been none at all, but it was definitely either 0 or 1.
Alright, so these guys, I have to fight all 4 of the gym trainers here to raise the ramps before I can fight Karina. I can fight them in any order I want. It's usually just the same order, though. Fight them in a certain order, just so that I can get those levels required for some of the future fights. This first one, though, I should be able to take both Pokemon out with Wing Attack.
To fight the trainers in this gym, it's a little odd. You either want to talk to them or come up from behind them instead of in front of them, so
Yeah.
they see you.
It is a little strange, but that's just how it is.
I guess we can briefly touch on the wireless communication thing, even if it is a bit of a meme in the chat. Like, the reason why it's off is that if you have the wireless switch on your 3DS when you speedrun this game, people like on the street can actually just randomly send you these things called O-powers. Of course, we met Mr. Bonding earlier, but you can be sent O-powers that give you various random buffs without having any control over it. So it's been like banned for the actual speedrun, and it's just muscle memory at this point to have it off for the marathon run as well.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't make the run more interesting, so I think it was a good decision to have them up to disallow O-powers. I'm about to learn a very unique move here after this Machoke called Flying Press. This is the only move in the game that acts as if it's a dual typed move basically. It shows up as fighting, but it actually also has flying type properties, so it uses both types when it calculates whether it's super effective or not very effective or what have you. So
yeah, since the Jaw Fossil was taken off in favour of the Soothbell, Fling's not useful anymore. Thankfully the moves even though you only have 2 slots for attacking moves with your Encore and Sword Stance taking out 2 of them, thankfully the attacking moves just end up shuffling naturally in a way that lets you be fine with only using 2 moves at once.
With lower attacks, this Heracross would be a range, and I would fight him later, but I have enough attacks so that I can just knock it out. That Heracross is quite dangerous if you don't KO it, because it has a move called Counter, and what that does is if I hit it with a physical move, this person hasn't seen me, if I hit it with a physical move, it'll deal back double the damage I just did to it, which will definitely knock me out.
Heracross, you're hitting 4 times super effectively with Wing Attack, but again, the levels are decent, and Wing Attack isn't all that powerful a move, plus Heracross is a reasonably bulky Pokemon, so not a guaranteed kill anyway.
Slot will lower my speed with low sleep, but I'm still faster after 1 speed drop. Now, Flying Press is more powerful than Wing Attack, so I can use that to take out the Hariyama. It has 90 power and 95 accuracy, so it could have missed. And that would have been terrible if it had missed, but thankfully it didn't.
As much as you might not want to say it, with the Howlucha catch being as good as it was, there is a bit of a buffer for other things to go wrong now, without the estimate being in any danger. So, unfortunate miss does happen at some point during the run, there still shouldn't be any real problems.
Yeah, definitely. The main parts that lose you time are like the whole Lucha bit is the main parts that lose you time in runs. So you know, I'm sure there'll be other things that go wrong throughout the run. There's definitely plenty of potential for that. Now Karina should be fairly straightforward. I just have to. I'll use an X attack here because Mean Fu can go for Fake Out, and I need to be at +3 to guarantee the KO with Wing Attack on her own Hawlucha. With higher attack, I would just be able to Swords Dance, but my attack's not quite high enough for that.
No sign of the Lucarios here, you'll see them soon enough.
I don't think I'm faster than Hawlucha. I can't actually remember what my speed was, 29. This Hawlucha her Hawlucha has 87 speed. I think I'm a little slower. Yeah, it went for... But it doesn't know any super effective attacks. The most damaging move it has is Flying Press, which, because I resist the fighting type part of it, but I'm weak to the flying type part of it, so it ends up being neutral. I leveled up to 90 there, so that might have been a speed tie actually, at that level.
Yeah. Didn't matter, not sure if it would have killed you with a critical, but either way that didn't happen.
So we're finally going to be learning about Mega Evolution just coming up. I didn't get the boost there, so I'm just going to travel slowly down this rail, take a leisurely pace. He's right at the top of this tower. I've got to talk to him because if I don't, he'll walk up to me and there'll be an exclamation point and it'll be slow. I'm trying to get the Swizzle here, but if you miss it, you can kind of just grind to a halt, so I think I'm just going to stop trying. So this time I'm going to say it in good time. The Lucario name is going to be coming up soon, so... I think that should be closed shortly because I just have this fight and then I'll get my Lucario and I'll be able to give it a name.
Then the Lapras name will follow shortly after, but still definitely time to get names in for that. Donations in for that before it's over.
So the only requirement to clear this battle is that you have to Mega Evolve. You don't actually have to win this fight. It's actually faster to lose, very slightly, but it is faster to lose. What I'm hoping for is for Karina to land a critical hit on me with Power Up Punch. I think the idea is that the idea is that without Mega Evolving, you like always die to Power Up Punch, but with Mega Evolving, you don't. So it's just kind of teaching you in that way that. You know, how Mega Evolution works, because it increases your stats, it can change your type, it can change your ability. For Lucario, it changes its ability to Adaptability, which means that the same type attack bonus is ×2 instead of ×1.5. And it also boosts its attack, defense, special attack, and speed by a little bit.
Adaptability is actually a really broken ability in the right hands, but because of just how slow the Mega Evolution animation is, you barely even use it.
So there you go, just lose that fight, because you skipped the victory fanfare that you would get if you won. So I'm going to get Lucario now, so what's the winning name?
We have a tie.
Oh,
$25 each for Bay and Meeball.
How about I just call it Meeball Bay, there we go. There's enough room for both.
Up to 12 characters in this gen, I think.
That's right.
It's the first time it's 12?
Yeah, I think because I think it's because of Fletchinder is like the one Pokemon that has more than 10 characters in this game.
Oh, Fletchinder, yeah.
Fletchinder.
Oh yeah.
But that's only 11, I think, isn't it? I can't think right now. Yeah, that's only 11, so I don't know. But in Gen 7 they have Crabominable, and that's 12 characters. So Lapras is coming up right around now. Just as soon as I go through that gate, I'm going to be receiving it, so So yeah, that's coming up very shortly. And Kalen gives me Surf right when I need it because Surf will help me cross water. I need to teach that to a Pokemon to get across there, and that Pokemon is... hold on. This Lapras. Goodness me. So what is the name for Lapras?
Highest bid with $27 is Degenerate.
Degenerate, my boy. Oops.
Oh.
Degenerate. There you go.
Got some recognizable names for these last two Pokemon.
Pretty old school. Shout out to the LAC once again. Alright, so I'm gonna use my last Sweethearts on Hawlucha and also use the Soda Pop to heal it to full. Bit of a menu here. I have to teach a lot of moves. Teach Surf to Lapras so I can get across the water.
You could also get the Squirtle starter to learn Surf, but Lapras has other uses.
Yes, Lapras is useful in other ways, definitely. Teach it Strength as well for the one boulder at the end of the game that I need to push.
Yeah.
Teach it Rock Smash for the one rock at the end of the game that I need to smash.
Do you have Hawlucha at that point, or have you deposited again by then? Oh no, you deleted Rock Smash.
I deleted Rock Smash, yeah, for Fling and then Flying Press. I teach Rock Tomb to Lucario, which is much improved from previous generations. It's now 60 power, 95 accuracy. It used to be only 50 power and 80 accuracy, which was really bad. But it's very useful for type coverage because fighting types, it's mainly for use against flying types because fighting type moves are not very effective against flying types. So I can use Rock Tomb to deal some good damage to them. Coming up, we got the real MVP of the run right here. We got Skiddo, and when I'm on Skiddo's back, I can go right past these trainers and they will not challenge me. But unfortunately, we come up against Skiddo's ultimate nemesis, Stairs. So unfortunately we can't bring Skiddo to the end of the run with us.
So it's not quite the moment of truth for Lucky Egg just yet. You go and fight the 4th gym first, because the 4th gym happens to be a grass-type gym, and it'll also get the last few levels that should push Hawlucha's happiness to the point where the egg is actually obtainable. Perhaps if you got something like 2 of the best massages, you could go for it early, but it wouldn't really make that much of a difference anyway.
Yeah, it would just mean you wouldn't have to come down here again. But even though I got, a bit of good luck with the decent second massage, it's not going to be enough friendship to get the Lucky Egg here. Not yet, anyway. This city's split into 2 parts. We've got the coastal part down here, and when I ride the monorail, it takes me up to the part that's up on a cliff, I suppose. I'm gonna save here again. I mean, this fight shouldn't go wrong, but it can do. It's another fight with your rival, where you rely on him using either Fake Out or he has Light Screen now, which you can also encore him into Light Screen, reducing the power, meaning that he takes less damage from my special attacks, but I'm just going to be using all physical attacks, so that's absolutely fine by me.
And is it this fight that we want the gender for, or was it the previous one?
It's this one, yes. It's this one. It wouldn't have... it's this one where the Meowstic here has a speed-reducing nature, which means that more Hawlucha that you catch can just use this strat, use an X attack, and then still be faster after that, so that you can encore into Fake Out. But this Hawlucha in particular just has really good speed, so even if I picked the boy, it would have worked out. But there's no way you can know that before the run.
No, it's just the X attack and then a single sword stance this time, because of having Flying Press, which, well, I mean, you still can't take out the Meowstic in one hit. That's still pretty bulky, but Flying Press can account for the other Pokemon.
Yeah, with good enough attack, you can instead set up to plus 5 on Meowstic, and then you can knock it out with a single wing attack. But my attack's just a little bit too low for me to guarantee that range.
Flying crest misses would have been potentially problematic there, but there's only a few more fights left with Holucha, so then we'll swap over to Lucario and Rock Tomb misses instead.
Yeah. I'm sure at least one will happen at some point. I mean, it's a marathon after all, it's got to happen at some time, surely.
Yeah, things have been going suspiciously too well so far. Not
Yes.
amazing, but... The two wild encounter choke points have not been choke points.
Oh, well, there we go. There's a first bit of bad luck right there. I get paralyzed by Lick after missing the damage range on Simisage. So, yeah, I'm going to heal that, I think.
Holucha's other ability, other than Unburden, I think is the one that prevents paralysis.
That's right. It has Limber, which would mean that I wouldn't get paralyzed there. I might as well heal my HP as well. Because that'll mean, because at that health I would have had to heal before the gym leader anyway, and I might take a little bit of damage, but I don't think I'll take enough damage where I have to heal again. At least I hope not. We'll see how it goes.
Unburden probably overall the safer ability to have due to that use in Grant's gym, but Limber can certainly save a healing item or two in this gym.
Oops. I meant to just go up and go immediately diagonally down so that I can talk to her, because you can't really turn on the spot, or if you can, it's really hard to go diagonally so you can talk to these guys. In Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, you can just like face one direction, and then if you press A to talk to someone who's diagonal to you, your character just turns on their own. Getting poisoned there. So that's a little bit of bad luck. Kind of, but I mean, it's kind of good and bad, because if I'm poisoned, it means that I can't get inflicted by any other any status condition. Like in the next fight, there's going to be a Gloom that I face, and that Gloom can go for Sleep Powder or Stun Spore. Both of those, and that would mean that I'd either fall asleep or get paralyzed. Both of which are much worse than poison. So I'm actually going to keep this poison so that I can't get those nasty statuses from the next trainer.
And if you remember that the EXP share is still on from ages ago, this is where it's coming into play, with Lucario gaining a bit of experience throughout the gym.
We have a $10 donation from Zach yet again.
Jeez, Zach. Going in.
Don't worry about the lucky egg. I've sent a bunch of befriending O-Power level 3.
Zach, please, no. I'm going to get disqualified.
And remember, guys, the incentive is still up to turn on animations for the champion battle. So go ahead and donate for that.
Okay, that's pretty good. I think I am going to have to heal again, though, before the gym leader, just because of that poison. Taking a little bit too much damage to be able to survive a hit from his first Pokemon. I mean, this is a grass gym, so you might be thinking, well, what the heck could he possibly use that's going to deal big damage to Holucha? But his first Pokemon is Jumpluff, which is part flying type. And it knows a move called Acrobatics, which is normally 55 power, but if it's not holding an item, it doubles in power to 110. So it's a really powerful move to use against me. Jumpluff doesn't have very good attack, but the power of the move is so great that I'm going to need to heal beforehand just so that I survive.
Thankfully it is a Jumpluff, so it is possible to survive from full reliably. Otherwise, a 110 power stab super effective move might be a bit of a concern.
Yeah, But since I'm at full and I think since I'm at full and out of range, he might just go for Leech Seed instead. We'll see what happens. The only thing I'm worried about is an Acrobatics critical hit at this stage. Well, I guess I could also miss Flying Press. So yeah, you see it did a fair bit, but not enough to KO.
The evolved form of that Skiddo from earlier. Probably not exactly the same one though.
No, you can actually ride Go-Goat in Lumio City, but you go really slowly on it for some reason. It just like takes you on a tour. Really slow tour. So Skiddo is still the real MVP.
That should be that for Holucha.
Well, very nearly. There will be one more situation where Holucha will come into play, probably.
Yeah, it should still get to use at least one more attacking move, but as far as being the main goes, that should be it.
But it did well. Served me well, Holucha. Very cooperative, got in the second ball.
First encounter, decent stats. What more can you ask for?
So I have to go back to the coastal section of the city, because that's where the lady with the lucky egg is. She's in the hotel, and I'm not worried at all. I'll be amazed if I don't get the lucky egg after all this.
Can still happen. Unlikely though.
There we go. So there's that lucky egg.
And it might seem a bit unfortunate to the people watching, but this lucky egg is essentially what we use to skip having to ever mega evolve, or at least until very, very late on. So apart from just generally making things easier, it'll also skip all the animations of having to mega evolve on whatever fights you might otherwise have to if you had regular experience levels.
Yeah, I think we did explain this earlier, but even though the animations are off, the Mega Evolution animation still plays. I mean, you saw it earlier. There's just certain animations that they don't turn off no matter what. Taught Holucha to fly there. That means that I can immediately go back to any Pokemon Center from any town I've visited, so I can use that just to fly to the same place so that I can skip riding the monorail again. And now I'm going on to the desert section. And you can get wind on this route. It's like goes in 10-minute intervals, whether you get wind or not. I shouldn't get wind, I don't think, because this was pretty fast in general, so I don't think I'm going to get wind. Yeah, I didn't, so that's really good, because with wind you can go like... It impacts your movement quite a lot, and you see those burrowing encounters. It can be tough to avoid those when you have wind when wind is working against you.
We have a couple more donations.
Okay.
We have one from Venom SWR. For $2. Hi ASA, French Restream here. Hope you're having a good time. You took Lapras away from us, so we're taking the Hobbits to Isengard. And Ruby and Sapphire's trainer name. Let the war begin. And $5 from SPR Superplayer 2, who says this is going to world record.
Well, I actually don't think it's going to world record because I just realized I forgot to do some shopping, so I'm going to go back to Coumarine City and do a little bit of shopping because I'm going to want a few items for this section coming up, especially revives, which will help if my Lucario accidentally faints which definitely could happen in a few fights coming up. So I'm glad I remembered that here, and not like when I was fighting the next fight, because the next fight is actually pretty dangerous. So I'm going to have to take a little bit of time and fly back to Coumarine so I can do that shopping.
There are just a few fights through the game where you might not really expect a Pokemon to be all that threatening, but they can just one-hit Lucario or at least come very close. Mainly fighting type Pokemon, since Lucario is of course part Steel type. So revives are necessary, probably even for proper speedrun attempts.
Yeah, definitely. I would not do proper attempts without revives, for sure.
And hopefully the wind is still staying away.
Well, I'm not sure about that now. Here it is. Well, see, this is, well, again, at least you get to see what wind does. You've got to try and fight against it, and the thing is, you've got to try and get on this, on this thing, and it's quite hard to line up. These flipping burrowing things are trying to catch me. I'm trying to get on that. These guys are guarding the way. Okay, I hope I can do this now. See, if you're too slow, you just hit that. You just hit that little snag. Whatever. I'm just gonna get the encounter here. We'll see what it is. Okay, it's a Gibble, so I can run away from that. There's some Pokemon here have the ability Arena Trap, which means that I can't run, but Gibble's not one of them, so I can just easily run away from that, no problem. Right, hopefully there won't be any more around here. Where am I? Okay, I'm here, so I just have to skate down, and then I can go over here. Actually faster to skate than go on your bike when it's windy, which is a little odd, but that's just the way it is. Just if you're going this way. If you're going the other way, then, you know, by all means get on your bike. So here we go. This guy has lead with a Scraggy, and Scraggy is 25% to die to Power-Up Punch. And if it uses High Jump Kick, which is a 130 power fighting type move, super effective against me, I just have no chance. I always go down to that. If I was one level higher, it would be 75% chance to knock it out, but I just don't think it's worth getting that experience for that, because Scraggy can just use random moves, basically. The AI of these Flagrants is not that good. If it was like 100% to KO, then I would consider getting that extra level, but I just don't think it's worth it.
You can see that Brick Break did a pretty large amount of damage itself, and High Jump Kick obviously quite a big step up from that, so...
Yeah. Heal that up because I took a lot of damage there.
It's not so much that Lucario has bad defenses or bad typing, but when you get the fighting moves that are 130 power, same type attack, and the Pokemon stay fairly similar level to you for most of the game, then you are going to take a lot of damage.
Yeah, the Lucario you get is always the same, so it doesn't have, this particular one that you get does not have great defenses. It has a hasty nature which boosts speed and lowers defense, and it has it only has 6 HP IVs and 16 defense IVs, which is not great, but you know, even without those, even if you had better defense, I think High Jump Kick would always knock you out. It's just that powerful in attack. Yeah, the IVs for Lucario are 6 HP, 26 attack, 16 defense, 26 special attack, 19 special defense, and 31 speed. So again, it's got perfect speed. 31 IV with a boosting nature.
Yeah, the chest spin was pretty fast as well, plus of course Howlucha being one of the fastest. Two of the Pokemon of course are guaranteed to have that perfect speed, but the other two are also perhaps not insanely fast in the case of Chessman, but up there.
Nice critical there. I went for Power-Up Punch first there. It wouldn't normally have killed, but I went for Power-Up Punch first because Mightyena has Roar, which would force me out into another Pokemon. And I'd want to deal some damage to it before it did that, if it went for Roar, but I got the critical hit there, so I was able to knock it out in one hit instead. Here's another Scraggy, same thing, 25% range, can knock me out with high jump kick right away. Hopefully it doesn't go for it. High jump kick can miss as well, so... And if it misses, then Scraggy will take recoil. But it went for payback instead, which is dark type, so it's not going to do very much to me.
Yeah, the recoil would finish it off. But it's a lot more likely to hit than it is to miss.
Yeah, I think it's 90% high jump kick. You don't often see it miss in a run.
Still waiting for the first 95% accurate miss from one of
there's
the
plenty of
run
time.
Pokemon.
There's plenty of time yet. Bone Rush is 90%, so you might see that miss as well. Bone Rush is 25 power ground type move, which is not very powerful, but it does hit 2 to 5 times, so you know it can go up to 125, just depending on how many hits you get. You're more likely to get 2 or 3 hits than you are to get 4 or 5, which can come into play a little bit. But we'll see how that goes. Okay, I got confused there. It's nice to have bought full heals because I can just heal off that confusion straight away.
It's enough power on Bone Rush to get through what you need to with ground coverage.
Yeah, you actually used to buy the Dig TM from Laverre City and teach that instead. I guess the thought was that Bone Rush was just too inconsistent, but it turns out that Bone Rush is definitely good enough to get the job done. And you save money by not buying Dig, which means that you can cut out a shopping trip later on. That's where the main time save there comes from.
That still works since you... I guess you only did one extra fight before you did the shopping. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you would shop earlier. When you bought Dig, you'd shop earlier because you went to Laverre, so you'd buy like Hyper Potions, Repels, and all that there, and then you'd have to do another shop later. So I'm hoping to get 5 hits here, which is not very likely. Or I could get 4 and a critical, I guess. But the reason I did that instead of going for Sword Dance is because Swalot has Encore, so if I used Sword Dance and it Encored me, I wouldn't be able to attack it for a few turns.
He did kill it in 4 total there, but unfortunately it wasn't all in one turn.
Yeah, one of those was a critical, though, so I would have normally need 5. But because Bone Rush is a multi-hit move, I mean, you got a reasonable chance of getting a critical at least once.
Getting 5 between 2 uses of the move is very reasonably likely, since 2 is only a 3 in 8 chance and you would need to get 2 twice.
Because of that, Power Up Punch always boosts my attack, so because of that attack boost, I only need 3 hits to KO this Swalot. But I got 2, so too bad. I can finish it off with Rock Tomb though, which is slightly more accurate.
No paralysis from Body Slam.
Yeah. The only 2 moves that can hit me with are Body Slam and Encore. The other 2 moves are, I think, Toxic and Sludge or something, so that's why it's not using those, because Lucario is immune to poison type attacks, being a steel type. Sucker Punch is another one of those priority moves. Only works when I'm using an attack, but it's Dark type, so I don't take very much damage.
It is one of the more powerful priority moves otherwise, though.
Yeah, 80 power. And I don't have to worry about any ranges on this Scraggy anymore because I've gotten a few levels since the last Scraggy, so that one always goes down. Heal up again. before the next fight because the next trainer has a Houndoom, part Fire type, and if it uses Fire Fang, it usually does around 80 damage. So yeah, I would always die to Fire Fang from that range. It could well not go for it though. This guy does not have good AI either, so he can just go for either of his other 3 moves that do very little damage to me.
Yeah, he doesn't even have a name actually.
Just admin. What a life. He did go for Fire Fang though. Shouldn't need to heal for this scientist. The most damaging move it has is Assurance, which does 21 maximum. It can confuse me with Swagger, and that's the only thing I'd be worried about. Because it can the only thing I'd be worried about is if it lowered my speed with Scary Face and then used Swagger while it was faster, because then I could die. But that's not too likely to happen. Let's see what it does. There's Scary Face. Don't go for Swagger. Okay, good.
Almost made you think that you might be in trouble.
Yeah. So, we've never seen these mysterious people before, but they're going to be very nice and heal my Pokemon. And also give me a couple of full restores, which is pretty nice because I don't buy full restores anywhere because that shop in Coumarine was my last one. So full restores will fully restore my HP and also cure any status afflictions that I may be suffering from. So there's a few spots where that could come in handy.
We'll have to say goodbye to the power plant music there.
Yeah. This is, in my opinion, the best music in XY. It'll come back at at one other point though, so don't be too sad about that. So here's the guy who's even taller than Lysander. This guy is he's pretty tall. Let's just say that. We'll be learning more about him later. So now we're back in Lumiose. We can access this part of the city now that the power's come on. I have tried flying back to the southern part of Lumiose and then seeing if I can, like after I beat the power plant, and then seeing if I can come to this section. But it turns out you just have to come in this way. Yeah, the trigger is more coming in from this direction rather than restoring the power and clearing out the Team Flare guys in the power plant.
Got a bit of a mini game coming up in this gym.
Yeah, nice little quiz. Let's see if you guys can get it right at home. Let me just take a drink.
There will be longer opportunities than that to take a bit of a refreshment later in the run, but
yes.
There's a little minor one.
So for the electric type gym, you'll see Bone Rush being used a lot here. This is like the main part where just Bone Rush is really useful here in general. Because electric types, their only weakness is ground. Now let's see if we can get this question right. What Pokemon's that, guys? Is it Mimikyu? Oh, it's not on the list, so I guess it has to be Pikachu. You can't skip those questions, by the way. If you just try and talk to these guys, they'll say, you haven't even heard the question yet. You're going too fast. What are you doing? Oh, it dodged. There's the first miss, I think, of any move I've been using. I need 3 hits to KO Dedenne here. Good stuff.
Not too bad.
Yeah, as far as places to miss go, that one doesn't cost you very much.
The 95% accurate ones are probably more important in general.
Yeah.
Kind of fitting.
I got it right. Oh. Yeah, this quiz is always the same. I think it would have been nice if they'd have been able to draw from a pool of questions, but they didn't do that. What Pokemon's that? It's not Pikachu. Now this is the first of the Pokemon with static, but thankfully Bone Rush is not a contact move. I don't make because I guess it doesn't count me as faking physical contact with my opponent, so I can't trigger static if I use Bone Rush, which is really nice. Not having to worry about getting paralyzed. But,
That's unlucky.
Yeah, I want to use Rock Tomb here because that's another move that doesn't make contact, just because I don't want to get paralyzed there. Just risk the miss. You don't normally take, well, usually you're at full HP for this next fight. I just got a bit unlucky on those Bone Rushes. This next fight is the most dangerous in the gym. He has an Ampharos, and Ampharos is very bulky. I am just out of range of Thunder Punch, so I'm not going to heal, and hopefully he'll go for Thunder Punch and not Confuse Ray. But we'll see how it goes. This is Panpour.
How many Bone Rushes is it to kill it outright? Or do you
I would
Swords
need 5. So if I get 5 hits, then that'd be great.
Same deal as that swell up from earlier then.
Yeah, just a bit higher stakes this time. Oh, I went for Thunder Punch though, so that's nice.
That at least guarantees that you get it this time with getting free on the first turn.
Yeah. Confuse Ray would have been worse there. If it used Confuse Ray, I would have used a full restore. Because I'm going to have to heal for the gym leader now, being at such low health. In fact, I might as well heal just before this next fight in case I miss Bone Rush again. So this one's a bit different. You have to pick which one is Vivian. And it is number 2. Good, no miss there. I'm not entirely sure what that puzzle can do to me, but I don't think it can do very much. And now I'm going to learn a really nice move, Aura Sphere. This is a special move, so it's not boosted by Source Dance, but it is 80 power, so it's just a really nice move for dealing with things that are weak to it, or things that have low defenses. And it's got 20 power points as well, so it's really nice for just a good old consistent move. It was 90 power last generation, but they reduced the power of a lot of special moves in Gen 6.
Can't miss either, can it?
That's right.
It's like Aerial Ace.
Yeah, I can't remember if that ever comes into play at all. Can't really think of any time where it would. There might be one point where, like, you know, a move might have a side effect of lowering my accuracy or something. But, like, it's very situational. Anyway, here's Clement here. And his Emolga is actually a flying type, so I can't use ground moves against that. I've got to boost my attack a little bit. And then it'll switch itself out with a move called Volt Switch. Now Magneton has the Sturdy ability, which means that it will survive one hit from full HP, but because Bone Rush is a multi-hit move, I can just take it out without it being able to retaliate.
One of the main advantages of Bone Rush over Dig.
Yeah, with Dig you'd have to weaken it a little bit, like with Rock Tomb, and then finish it off with, well, you'd use Aura Sphere.
Not actually a threat.
Yeah, I like this fight because you use each move exactly once. It always feels, it has a certain elegance to it.
Outside of misses and just random Pokemon with super powerful fighting moves, Lucario isn't going to have huge amounts of trouble for a while yet.
Yeah, not unless I decide to play a little risky. Which you never know, I might if it's
We have a couple of donations.
Sure, go ahead.
We got another one from Zach Cap.
What the heck, Zach?
$11.
How much money does this man have?
Well, it's about halfway now, and this is my last donation of the run. Good luck on the rest of the run, Garth. I'll be here rooting until the very end.
Thanks so much, Zach.
And when is the clothes shopping?
That would be nice. I do love that feature in this game, but no clothes shopping this run. Sorry.
We also have a $5 donation from End Drag Pack saying, "Hello Kawaii, good luck. Hope your run will be awesome this year. ESA is the great for the Final Fantasy speedrun, the community. Hashtag second stream." And speaking of which, I think the second stream is about to start over at twitch.tv/GeekyGoonSquad with World of Final Fantasy.
Just chatting to Lysander here, and he's like the first guy to apologize for the length of these cutscenes by giving me a King's Rock, which ironically lengthens the cutscene even more.
There will be plenty more cutscenes longer than that one, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is like just the shift that these games have gone in recently. Just give you more cutscenes. It's more about the experience than the gameplay, I guess. Or at least that's the theory.
They haven't been too bad since we got past the tutorial, but the cutscenes will ramp up again in a bit. Around when the 7th gen is cleared.
So I'm going to teach Shadow Claw here. Bone Rush has been really nice, but I'm going to just... I need Shadow Claw to teach Shadow Claw at some point for the Psychic Gym, and I might as well teach it here. And what else? I'm going to heal the full, even though I'm just here, just because I'm in the menu, and I might need this HP. And then I'm just going to max repel because there's going to be a few encounters on this next route that I can repel. It's been a while since I've needed a repel, but this is where I need to have them up again.
Back to somewhat normal grass, or maybe not quite normal grass on this route, but there will be routes with actual grass again coming up.
Another fight against Calum. He's nowhere near as much of a problem as he was back then with, you know, he doesn't need like the crazy strategy, encore strategies or anything, because Lucario is neutral to its psychic moves. All you have to do is use an X attack, hope he goes for Fake Out instead of Light Screen. That's good. and now I can just knock everything out in one hit.
Finally have an offensive special move. I think it's the first one actually have at all.
Yeah, this is the only one that you get. Yeah, if Meowth could use Light Screen turn 1, this Absol would have survived Aura Sphere. But thankfully it went for Fake Out, so it has no chance against that.
Just so happens that you use a lot of physical moves in this game. In other games you can go through the whole game and pretty much only use special moves, or at least once you get past the first few levels anyway, since the starters pretty much always start with physical moves. But after that, there are some starter Pokemon routes where you might have, say, 4 or 5 moves at once.
Gonna head up here to Laverre City next. That's where the next gym is. This gym's like right after the electric one. There's not a lot of break. Not after the huge gulf of time between the first and second gym. This is quite refreshing, really. I'm gonna wait for a turn. You can get encounters here in this little swamp bit, which is why I have the repel up. There's also a bit of grass here. There we go. If you go like around the sides, you won't get stuck on the bike, so that's why I went around the side there rather than like go through the mud.
And the cutscene here that doesn't really achieve anything, but such is the way of modern Pokemon.
A horde of faceless men! You can give people tips in this game, but it doesn't do anything. I think there's like a rumor that it increases your shiny chance or something, chance of getting a shiny Pokemon, but I think that's more people want to believe that rather than it actually being a thing. So the name of the game in this game is just go in the warp panel and dodge all the spinners you can. Like, you shouldn't hit any of the spinners in this gym. I don't think we explain what spinners are. They're basically just trainers that spin randomly, and you kind of just have to wait for them to go past them. Okay. But like, if you wait until they spin, then you can just run straight past them just after they've spun, and then they won't see you.
Shouldn't really be hitting any spinners in this entire game. They are quite docile.
Oops, that was a bit off there. I'm just going to wait for her.
There are some games in the Pokemon series where spinners can be really nasty, particularly Gen 2 and Gen 4 games. In Gen 4 it's more the sheer number of them, but...
There is a path through that gym where you have to pass 2 fewer spinners, but it's 1 room longer, so not really worth it if you're careful.
Also a bit of a flashback to Sabrina's gym with all the teleporters there, just turned vertical.
Now I need to set it to +6 on Valerie for her final Pokemon, and if this Mawile goes for Iron Defense even once, I'm gonna have to go for a damage range with Aura Sphere, because Shadow Claw's not gonna kill. But Mawile can do very little to me. It only has Dark type attacks to hit me with. So I'm gonna go for the damage range here. This is only 5 out of 16 to KO, so I'm not surprised it didn't, and then she just heals up. So I'm gonna go for it again. Nice, okay, I got it that time.
Not ideal, but it gets the job done.
here's that Sylveon. This is what I needed the +6 for. If I didn't go to +6, I could get hit by a powerful Dazzling Gleam, or my attack could get dropped by Charm, so I want to avoid that.
Very one of the few types that we don't really have any offensive coverage for, even if you went into the TM bag.
Yeah, it's a bit strange because Lucario is a Steel type, and Steel type is super effective against Fairy, but it just doesn't learn any offensive Steel type moves by leveling up, apart from Metal Claw, which I think it learned earlier on, but it didn't have it by the time I got it at level 32.
It would probably be hard to find room to keep it in the moveset regardless.
Yeah, I mean, the coverage of Steel type overlaps quite a lot with Fighting type, so... And, you know, you really need these coverage options for the things that your Fighting type moves don't hit very hard. There we go, the return of the Power Plant music. Good stuff. And you know what that means? We got to clear out Team Flare of another place, the Pokeball Factory. But unlike the last one, you don't have to fight anywhere near as many trainers in here. You just have to get to the little bunker in the top right of the room, and you can do that by just going along these conveyors.
A bit more use of diagonal movement here to save a few steps.
Change the direction of the conveyors here. And here we are. This is the first battle where you kind of get a hint as to what you're going to be using Aura Sphere for, because Team Flare, which you fight a fair few times in the run, they use a lot of Dark-type Pokemon, so you can just basically clear out all of their Dark types with Aura Sphere.
Also gets around the Intimidate problem, not for this particular fight, but in general when they're using Mighty Inners.
Another little multi-battle here with Kalem. I'm hoping he uses Psychic on main Nectric, but he probably won't. He'll probably just use Fake Out or probably Light Screen, maybe Disarming Voice, just to deal either no damage or very little. Well, it can go for Fake Out. I'm hoping it goes for Psychic, but it's usually Light Screen, which doesn't help at all because the opponents don't have any special moves. Yeah, there it is. But hopefully it'll go for Psychic on this turn. There we go. And this is one of the points where it's like, we're going to give you the illusion of choice here. Do you want a Master Ball or a Big Nugget? Well, why don't you just have both? It doesn't matter what you pick. Pokemon games love to do this, just for some reason. try and get you immersed in things by giving you choices that end up not mattering at all.
Yeah, the players probably wouldn't be all that happy if they could actually permanently lose the chance to get a Master Ball, though.
Yeah. When I played through the game for the first time, I actually did pick the big nugget though, because I was like, if I can sell a big nugget, I can buy more clothes. And that's what it was all about when I was playing casually.
In some Gen 3 games, I think you can permanently lose the chance to get the Master Ball, but otherwise it's either unavoidable or just an event that never goes away.
This cutscene is just to reassure you that that you can buy as many Pokeballs as you want still, even though Team Flash stole a bunch of them from the factory. I'm gonna heal up here just for the next fight because I can die from this health definitely. The next fight's a little bit away, but there's a bit of movement to do before then.
That Psychic Gym will be coming up, but first there's another dungeon to go through.
Do we have time for a quick donation?
Sure.
All right, we have a $10 donation from Shuryan Sama saying, I hope this reaches the World of Final Fantasy stream. Good luck, Kawaii NL. Represent us Dutch people. And hello to one of the best streamers out there, my boy, Sereth. Enjoy. Yes, your donations will reach both streams. If you want a donation read out for a specific stream, just use a hashtag like hashtag stream1 or hashtag stream2.
Going off to Frost Cavern here, it's a little bit of a detour to where we have to go, but we can't actually progress yet because this Mamoswine is worried about his friend, and we need Mamoswine to traverse the next route. So we have got to sort that out in Frost Cavern.
As you might imagine, an ice cave means sliding puzzles. Fairly basic ones, but they feature in most of the games at some point.
Yeah, it's nice that you can slide diagonally here because it means that you can just dodge all the trainers. Without diagonal movement, you wouldn't be able to do that. Sliding on the ice is not too bad because you can hold the direction you want to go next before you hit a wall, and then in that way it's just pretty easy to do diagonals because you don't have to do like frame perfect inputs or anything.
Bit of a fine margin to dodge that black belt, but if you're doing the same movement every time, then
yeah, I mean it looks tight, but all you have to do is run up and he never sees you. You can even enter one tile further to the left and still run up and he still doesn't see you. He kind of turns and bumps into you, but you're like just past him by then. Now I heal for this Grunt's Golbat because remember that acrobatics move we were talking about earlier? A lot of Golbats have it, and that will do a lot of damage to me if it goes for it. But it just went for Air Cutter this time, which is a special flying move, doesn't do very much damage.
acrobatics is only neutral at this point on Lucario, but neutral 110 power is still a decent amount.
Unfortunately I got static there. I think I'll just cure paralysis here though, because I'm going to be using Aura Sphere to finish off, which is not a contact move. So the chances of me getting paralyzed there were I mean, it might have been able to use Thunder Fang, but that only has a 10% chance of paralyzing me. So I thought it was probably worth just curing paralysis there so that I didn't get fully paralyzed. I don't think we explained what paralysis does actually and why it's so bad. It lowers your speed to 1/4 of its original value, and it also means you have a 25% of not being able to act while you have paralysis active on a given turn. This Houndoom has a 1 in 16 chance of survival. Let's hope it just goes right on down to Aura Sphere. Good stuff.
Level 48 Houndoom. The levels are still keeping pace despite the lucky egg. They do fall off a little towards the end, but...
Yeah, this game does a pretty decent job of keeping pace with you, just because I guess they expect you to fight a lot of the trainers that you skip. There's like pretty much every trainer on the routes you can just go right past, and they would expect you to fight at least a few of those.
This time the PP up is actually to raise the PP of a move and not just for happiness.
Yes, that's right. I'll be using that a little bit later. I'm not using any of these moves because they've got quite a lot of PP already.
Did raise the PP of Wing Attack on Howlucha, but the extra PP wasn't all that useful.
Yeah, it could have been any move, to be honest. It was just because Wing Attack was in slot 1. So this section is a little bit less painful than the Rhyhorn section. You can get encounters in this snow, which is why you still got the repel up. But this is nowhere near the length of the Rhyhorn section.
Also, actually being higher leveled and everything here helps.
Yeah, so I'm not going to get any encounters. It's always nice.
Rather than having to smash another rock, you can just get off and squeeze through the little gap.
I'm dropped my repels there because there's going to be quite a long section where I'm not actually going to be going through any grass or going in any water or going anywhere where I can get wild Pokemon. So I'm going to put the repels up again later on when I need them. But right now, it's not necessary to have them up.
Yeah, it is fast to be able to keep renewing them and not have to go back into the menu, but when you would have to renew them so many times and you're working off a limited number of repels, it does become worth it to turn them off at some points. When you're going through particularly prolonged parts without going through any routes or water.
That guy is normally further to the left than that. I wasn't able to squeeze through that gap. Another fight with your rival here. He just won't give up. This time he has a new addition to his team, and I need to set up 2 Swords Dancers in order to one-hit KO that. So hopefully this Meowstic just decides not to go for Psychic. Not healing here is a bit of a risk, I guess. Now this is the first time my Bic ability's triggered Steadfast. When I get flinched, my speed increases. That's going to mean that I'm faster than his new Pokemon. I'm in range of Psych there, so I'm going to have to heal. Disarming Voice instead. Yeah, I just don't understand what's going on with this AI sometimes.
The AI can be a bit erratic sometimes because generally what it'll do is it'll make up a fake damage roll for all of its moves, and so if it randomly rolls a really high roll on one of the moves and a really low roll on another move, it can use a weaker move sometimes. Probably not the case there because the Summoning Voice is so much weaker than Psychic, but sometimes that can mess up AI manipulation in certain fights.
So that Jolteon was what I needed the +4 for. If I didn't get Fake Out from Meowstic, I would have been slower than that. And that would be like, and if that had happened, I would have just set up +2 on Meowstic, and then I would have used Rock Tomb on Jolteon to lower its speed. It wouldn't have killed, but it would have meant that the next turn it would have been faster. That would have been the only time where Rock Tomb's speed reducing effect would actually come into play for me, because Lucario is so fast that I just, you know, I just never need that speed drop effect to take place.
Yeah, other than when it's a Jolteon and it's got a stupid amount of base speed.
Yeah.
There are, of course, faster things out there, we just don't really encounter them.
This is that Psychic Gym we were talking about, where Shadow Claw is really useful. Because Psychic resists fighting and Ghost is super effective, so really nice to be able to hit them for some big damage.
This Executor is actually pretty scary in its own right.
If I miss the damage range, then it can. Then, you know, you saw that Psyshock did a lot of damage, so it can just knock me out if I miss the damage range. But it's 7 in 8, I believe, and Shadow Claw does have that slightly higher critical hit chance as well. So it usually just goes down. What I didn't realize about this gym until recently is that you can kind of see where you're going to be teleporting to next. Like, you go either up or down. I did not notice that for the longest time. But it makes it a lot easier than you having to try and memorize what direction to hold next. You can just look, oh look, at that blue bit, you go straight down and then you turn right. I'm gonna have to heal before Olympia. There are certain scenarios where if Psyshock had done less damage, I would have not healed, and that would have been a little bit faster. But I'm definitely in range of Psychic here, so I want to heal to full. What I want to see from this Sigilif is anything but Reflect. Reflect is like Light Screen but for physical attacks, so it would reduce the power of my physical attacks, and it would mean I have to set up 2 more Sword Stances. But usually it goes for Light Screen. Yeah, there you go. I think the reason it goes for Light Screen is that it reads your stats and it sees that your special attack is a bit higher than your attack. So I think that's why it goes for Light Screen, but I can't be sure. It's just like a theory. But with 1 Sword Stance, if it reflects up, it just KOs everything. That Slowking might have a chance to survive. I'm not sure. I've never missed the range, and I don't think I know anyone who has.
Yeah, Slowking is more of a special defender compared to Slowbro being a physical defender, so might just be fine regardless.
Might be. And at lower HP, if that Meowstic might not go for Fake Out, because Psychic can kill me at lower HP, but I had to heal because I was in range of Sigilif's Psychic. So that's one advantage of not having to heal there if you get that chance.
7 badges, but it'll be a while before the 8th gym comes up.
But we got quite a long section in between.
The game teases you with yet another Kalen rematch, but it doesn't actually happen, of course.
The big reveal. Mild-mannered environmentalist Lysander is actually a bad guy? Leader of Team Flare? Well, we've got to do something about this. Gonna head back to Lumiose City. Do a bit of backtracking here because I'm gonna be infiltrating some Team Flare hideouts. One of them was in that cafe over here. The Scrafty is Scraggy's evolved form, and it still has high jump kick, so it can, if I miss the damage range on Aura Sphere, it can just, you know, if it goes for high jump kick, I will go down. Oh, there we go, and that's what happened.
You got to see it at least once, and finally some somewhat bad RNG.
Yes. But that's what you have revives for.
Yeah, it has a slight issue killing Hawlucha, I suppose. But
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to kill Hawlucha. If I can kill it with Hawlucha, that would be fine, actually. Because I get, the way experience works in this game is that you still get, and every participant in this battle still gets 100% of the experience. It doesn't split like it was in previous generations. So I don't have to worry about getting too little experience from that.
Hawlucha just casually outspeeds the little whatever Scrafty, and later on it'll outspeed something else as well. What a great password.
Couldn't have guessed that one. So I'm actually going to set my battle style to switch here. Because this next fight is actually pretty tricky for Lucario. I might just, I mean, I don't need to really save here, but I might just, well, I'll just do it anyway in case of some random game crash. But like, I have revives, so even if I go down, it should be fine. So I get to fight Lysander himself here, and he has a problem Pokemon for Lucario. Actually, all of his Pokemon do big damage to you. You can't actually set up on anything really because Mean Fu has high jump kick and will knock you out. Pyroar has Fire Blast and will knock you out. And here's his problem Pokemon here coming up, Gyarados. Gyarados has Earthquake and will more than likely knock you out. But even if you set up on it, it has Intimidate, so it lowers your attack, and at +1 you don't have enough power to knock it out with Rock Tomb. It's a Water Flying type, so it resists your Fighting type moves. So what you do is you switch to Lapras, and then immediately switch back to Lucario, because he sees like, oh, Lapras, Outrage is my move that does the most damage against that. And Outrage is a Dragon-type move, which means that I resist it with Lucario, and also locks it into Outrage for 2 to 3 turns, so I can set up in its face, and then hopefully KO it with Rock Tomb. It is a damage range, but I got it. It's a pretty favorable one, I think it's around 75%.
Gyarados gets to be the trolls for the second half of the run in general. That one's nasty enough.
Yeah, Gyarados is not just in this Pokemon speedrun, but it's a problem. It can be a problem in a bunch of different Pokemon speedruns for sure.
It got its own little chat meme back when a decent number of people were running XY though, just because of how many runs the various Gyaradoses kill.
Oh yeah. Now by now this Swallows has learned a move called Stockpile, which means that it stockpiles energy, and it also, while it has stockpiles up, it also increases its defenses. But it went for Swallow, which restores HP even though it was full, and then it got rid of its stockpiles, so I can KO it with Shadow Claw there. Really nice that it used Swallow, or the other thing it could have done is Spit Up, which does damage to me. And then that just gets rid of its defense boost that it gained from stockpile.
Now, There will actually be 2 more Lysandra battles before we even fight the 8th gym leader, so the gang crams in battles with him pretty quickly, but in between there will still be a bunch of flare grunts to fight as well.
And a few admins too. We've faced Aliana way back in the power plant. And she's pretty straightforward. She has a Drogon, which is Dragon type, so I can't hit it super effectively, but 2 Aura Spheres are enough to take it down, and it can't really do too much to me. Now she's like, you gotta guess, which one's it gonna be? Pick left or right? And the right one just takes you back to the start, I believe.
Yeah, you might be tempted to go for it because it's a fancy yellow colour, but...
That's the trick, that's what they want you to do. Oops. I meant to talk to that guy, but too bad. If you talk to these guys, then their exclamation point doesn't pop up, so it's a little bit faster. But not a huge deal.
The value of skipping the exclamation point is something else that has gone down over time for Pokemon speedruns, up to the point where in Gen 7 I think it always plays it regardless.
Yeah, that's right. Even if you talk to them, you just always get an exclamation.
But it's a handy rule for most of the Pokemon speedruns where you want to talk to trainers whenever possible.
Now this is my most powerful attack right here, Close Combat. 120 power fighting type attack, physical, so it's boosted by Swords Dance. The drawback is that you lower your defenses when you use it, but that is really not much of a drawback, to be honest. The bigger drawback is that it only has 5 PP. There are other moves that are that powerful that have much worse drawbacks, like low accuracy, can do recoil to you, like can lower your attacking stats, that kind of thing, but Close Combat's side effect is really not that bad at all when it comes to speedrunning, definitely. Toxicroak's a poison type, so it resists my Close Combat, so I have to boost up against it. Oh, my accuracy fell. Hopefully I still hit. Dang. Come on. This would be some way to die, but thankfully Close Combat PP is not that crucial at this point. I just have to use it for a few Pokemon here. I think I can waste 2 before it becomes a problem.
Most fights aren't going to drop your accuracy at this point. There aren't really Pokemon running around with sand attacks, so it's these side effects which are normally quite a low chance.
Wait for... I don't trust that trainer. There we go.
The waiting strategy is pretty much 100% reliable, but if you're not willing to wait, then any spinner pass is still a risk.
Another goal back, could hit me with acrobatics. There it is. That's quite a lot of damage to me. That was, I think, a 1 in 16 roll actually. Maximum damage it can do, 66.
Still does almost half, despite not being super effective. And it's against the Lucario.
Here's another Toxicroak, same story as the first one really. Just hope it doesn't drop my accuracy again with Mud Bomb.
A little more problematic if it does this time.
Oh my gosh.
2 Pokemon, not just 1.
Although the next one This is where the perfect accuracy of Aura Sphere comes into play. There you go, because I can just KO the. I think it's a Lipard with Aura Sphere.
Okay,
It's
so
never
maybe
gonna
not
miss.
so much of a problem. Although it did get the accuracy drop, so maybe dead.
Yeah, I think Mudbomb only has a 20% chance to drop my accuracy, so I got a little unlucky in those two, but
Can miss as well, can't it?
yeah,
Not
I
that
think it's like
often, but-
flipping, what was it, 85% accurate, I think? It's not that great. Now remember, you recall Mabel had a level 48 Houndoom the first time I fought her. This time she leads with a level 46 Houndoom. Guess she was in the middle of training up its replacement. Just discarded that last one because she was so disgusted by its performance against Lucario.
Traded it for this Weavile.
Yeah, maybe. But this Weavile, you know, stands even less of a chance. Being, it's Dark and Ice, so both of its types are weak to fighting. So my Aura Sphere deals 4 times the usual damage.
Yeah, not a lot you can do as a Weavile against a fighting type, other than use your speed to kill it first with some kind of coverage move. No such luck here though.
Got given the elevator key there, so I can go in here. And we're going to be hearing a very emotional story here, so if Twitch chat would like to spam a few Bible thumps maybe for this story, it's you know, pretty sad stuff.
You'll have a decent amount of time to do it though.
Yeah, this is about a 3-minute unskippable cutscene, so if we have any more donations or anything like that, this would be the perfect time.
Yeah, no inputs involved either. Set down the 3DS for 3 minutes.
There you go. That's the longest cutscene in the game. Quite nice if you're speedrunning this because it's quite a long, quite a long speedrun. So if you want to, you know, take a bit of a break during the run, that's a pretty nice time to do it. But now we can get back on track here. Got one final fight in this little area against Zero Sick here, the lead team player scientist, who we only ever see here. Well, we see him. You can see him again post game, but it's the only time you see him when you're playing casually. Now, his Crobat does not know acrobatics, so that's why I didn't bother healing. Shouldn't KO me unless it crits. Stuff.
Had a good go.
Yeah, it did. It rolled pretty high, but I was out of range. And there we go. Now we're given an important choice here. We can either choose to guess which button activates the ultimate weapon, and like if we press it, we'll activate it and doom everybody. So we choose to activate the ultimate weapon because it's faster, basically. Sorry guys, many lives were sacrificed in the pursuit of speed, but had to be done. Actually, it doesn't matter which one you pick. If you pick the other one, 06 just like, wow, but I've got this remote control right here, and I'll just activate the ultimate weapon myself. So, another one of those moments where it's like one of those choices that isn't really a choice. Rip houses, though. So I don't know if you recognize this scenery, but this is Geosenge Town, so we have to go back there next. Do something about this ultimate weapon.
Hasn't actually done anything yet besides knocking houses out of the way as it came out. Might be a bit disruptive, but for an ultimate weapon.
Yeah, pretty pathetic for an ultimate weapon so far. But I think what the idea is that it's still building up power. Not sure why they revealed it if it's still building up power, but whatever. It gives us something to do. Oops. So I'm going to heal Lucario up here in the PC, and I'm also going to bring the whole gang back. We're going to bring everybody in, and there is a speed reason for this, which you know, you might not think so. You know, why would you bring these all your Pokemon back in? But this is so that you can force out the legendary later on. Legendary just, you know, likes to shove itself to the front of your party, and if you have a full party of Pokemon, you can just send it straight to the PC, so that's nice. But it's nice that you have exactly 6 Pokemon, just so that you can do this.
Yeah, it's essentially the HM slaves and all your previous names combined, plus Bulbasaur just coming along for the ride.
Yeah. Got a Swords Dance on this Golbat. If I'm only just shy of level 58, if I was level 58, then it would actually be a damage range with Rock Tomb. But I'm just a little bit off that level, so I have to Swords Dance first. And thankfully it went for Air Cutter instead of Acrobatics, so I'm not going to have to heal before the next fight. Coming up to our second Lysander fight now. Pretty darn similar to the first one. Difference being that this time I don't need to change my options purely because I have these other Pokemon in my party, so I can just without having to change the options, I can just sacrifice one of them. But otherwise the fight is pretty similar.
Yeah, with either Bulbasaur or Squirtle, you can just send them in to take the Earthquake that Gyarados will use. You could do the same with Charmander, but it would be super effective and waste a tiny bit more time.
He's evolved as Mean Foo now, so I need to close combat it to take that one out, but still no problem. Here's the Gyarados. Go Bulbasaur! I believe in you! Oh, that's not even Bulbasaur. I believe in you!
It would be somewhat problematic if you sent in a flying type there.
That would be bad because it would be immune to Earthquake.
Oh, what a surprise.
Couldn't pull through. Oh well. We'll bring Dio back and see if he can do anything about it.
I think it will.
So again, we're forcing Gyarados to lock itself into Outrage here. Again, this is a damage range with Rock Tomb.
Confused again.
Yeah, and it got out of Confusion, so if I were to miss, it would have to break through Confusion and then hit me with Earthquake.
Yeah, so the 5% Rock Tomb miss and whatever the damage range is, he would then be a coin flip to die after that. In this case though, just cleanly through. Two more, well, one more Gyarados that actually matters, one which is somewhat of a special case.
Yeah. Got a few double battle, multi-battles rather. I think they're supposed to be called multi-battles when you're with a partner. But yeah, Kalen does actually help a little bit more in these fights than he has done in the past. There's a Toxicroak here which I can't hit through very much unless I use Swords Dance, so he's gonna use his Meowstic's Psychic to knock it out because it takes 4 times the usual damage from Psychic. Unless he just, I don't know, goes for Disarming Voice this time just to be an idiot, but nope, he went right for Psychic.
The co-op partner actually being useful. It's not all that common, but when it does happen, it's helpful.
Now here I need Meowstic to do a tiny little bit of damage to Meanectric, and then I'll be able to knock it out, because Mighty N as Intimidate means that Aura Sphere will actually do more to the Meanectric in close combat because my attack has dropped. So I'm going to take Mighty N out straight away. Going to hope that Meowstic does something to Meanectric, Just anything. Anything. Okay, that should do. I'm glad I'm not the one who got paralyzed. Let's just say that.
You're not getting healed between fights here like you would in other games with this multi-battle setup. Usually they have it so that every time you do a multi-battle with anyone, your entire party gets healed afterwards for whatever reason.
Yeah, but not in this game. It's Shauna. She's going to join us for a bit, but she's not actually going to take part in any of the battles. We've still got Calum for this next one. And Calum can be useful here too. I'm going to use Aura Sphere on Scrafty because even though it has worse AI, if it does go for high jump kick against me, I'm dead. Just like basically with any Scraggy or Scrafty that I've faced so far. But Houndoom has better AI, but its Flamethrower does not KO me. So what I'm hoping happens is that Meowstic goes for Fake Out on Houndoom so that it doesn't go for Flamethrower, and it did, so that's really nice. It means I won't have to heal before the next few fights.
Optimal Calum so far.
Yeah, Calum's been really nice. So Shauna breaks the lock there, skips what would probably otherwise have been a very stimulating slide puzzle or something. So we'll thank her for that at least. Suddenly admins. Don't know where they came from, but here they are. We've still got this is the last little gauntlet before the legendary. And you can fight these admins you can choose which order where you want to fight these admins, but the important thing is that you leave the front one for last. You can fight the others in whatever order you like, really. It's just nice to fight. But I'd recommend you fight this guy first because you can... These Pokemon don't do any damage to you, and you get a level for the next two fights. Which would mean that you take slightly less damage, potentially.
Immediately after actually being useful, Shauna runs off again and makes us lose Calum's support. Not that he would be all that helpful here, but he might have made it into 2 double battles instead of what this is.
Another Golbat. At this point, I'm not really worried about damage. You can go for Acrobatics if it wants. I'm at full HP, so like even a critical would probably still be fine for the next few battles. Oh, that's annoying because Haze means I have to Swords Dance again. It gets rid of my stat boost, so now I'm actually going to have to heal before the next fight. Kind of jinxed myself there.
First Rock Tomb miss, not well, I mean, it could have killed him with another one, but didn't end up being immediately threatening.
Yeah, not a catastrophic one, just waste a little bit of time. Might as well just Soda Pop because I don't need to be at full. Just need a little bit of HP. Because the Swellout could KO me with a split up after 2 stockpiles after I use close combat and lower my defenses. Alright, so I can KO with 2 close combats from here. Even with a 3rd stockpile.
I mean, there's not a lot more you can do against those Swallots, even if you still had Bone Rush somehow. It wouldn't kill it all that fast.
So the reason you save this admin for last is because she has a main Ectric, and main Ectric does not die to Aura Sphere, so you have to use close combat, which is a contact move, and risk the static. But if you get paralyzed here, it does not matter at all, because you get a free heal very shortly afterwards. Go, it's time to meet the legend.
This was pretty much the last version difference to go down. Well, there are still some very minor ones, but this sequence used to be where the idea that X is better than Y came from.
Yeah, because the legendary forces itself to the front of your party if you don't have 6 Pokemon, and if you had Yveltal at the front, you'd basically, if you have Xerneas at the front and you he would send Honchkrow out second, Lysander, and then you could switch into Lucario from there and then set up. But if he has Yveltal, he sends out Pyroar second, and that would mean that you'd have to put the battle style on set, which would waste a little bit of time. But now you just don't use the legendary at all, so that version difference is eliminated from the speedrun. You have to catch Xerneas in order to progress the story. If you don't catch it, if you like either KO it or get KO'd or run away, then Xerneas will just stay here until you catch it. And we got that Master Ball here, so this is a good a time as any to use it. It has a higher catch rate than a lot of legendaries, just because it's a required catch. But we don't. But, you know, it's fastest just to use a Master Ball, because we don't need it for anything else.
Yeah, there isn't another ball you can throw that has 100% catch rate, or even all that close, so just get it out of the way.
I'm going to fight Doc Ock here for the final time, and he's actually a fair bit easier than his previous incarnations. I won't actually have to switch at all. The only thing I'm worried about, the only thing I'd be remotely worried about would be missing Rock Tomb on Honchkrow. Because I need to preserve my close combat PP for other Pokemon. Because he sends out Honchkrow third instead of Gyarados, so I can just set up on this. It'll do about half to me with Aerial Ace because of that defense drop from close combat. So as long as I hit this, I'll fine. There we go. And the reason he sends his Gyarados out last is because he is going to Mega Evolve Gyarados. And when Gyarados Mega Evolves, it turns from a Water Flying type into a Water Dark type, which means it's weak to close combat and it will go down easily, even after the Intimidate. This goes down to a +1 close combat.
Only +1, but 120 power, super effective, stab, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the special case Gyarados. There's still one more non-Mega one coming up, which
Oh
can
boy.
cause major issues.
Lysander's understandably mad that his mega trick backfired, so he's just gonna fire the ultimate weapon, and all that really does is, I think, shut it down, so it doesn't really do anything. I think he dies though. I think that's the thing in this game that happens here. Like you see like it's caved in a bit, and you never see him again. I don't know. I never twigged about that until somebody told me. It was like, did Lysander die? I was like, wait, what? Oh, I guess maybe he did. Anyway, regardless, he's not a problem anymore. That sounds a bit heartless when I say it like that, but the point is, the team player section is over, and we can get back to our gym badge collecting quest.
Yeah, the next gym isn't even that far away from where we were before. It's just that this massive team flare diversion takes up about half an hour before you can carry on to the next few block battles. So we're not going straight to the gym. There's still a few more interesting annoyances that we have to take care of, I suppose.
Yeah, the fights past the team player section, they kind of vary a bit more, because team player, you know, they often use Pokemon of similar types, you know, similar Pokemon, a lot of dark types, a lot of fighting types, the odd main Ectric here and there. But there's a bit more variety coming up in these next few fights. I have to remember to use my PP up here on close combat. And use my Max Repel again. But keep to the bottom of that route, because there's a little hedge and you can get jumped by Durant or Heatmore if you're not at the bottom of that. And then there's a candy up here. I still need a rare candy. I still need more levels, even though I've gotten so much experience from the Lucky Egg. I still need, you know, a few more levels. I still need that one more level on Lucario to give myself a decent chance at a few damage ranges. Anyway, I'm going to fight Sycamore again. He's going to be using the final evolutions of the Kanto starters. For his Venusaur, I'm going to go for an unlikely damage range, but only if he doesn't hit me. If he does hit me, then I don't want to go for that range, because if I miss the range, I'm going to have to heal before the next fight, basically. So he attacked me there, so I'm not going to go for the range. Because if I hit him with close combat, I would put him into Overgrow, which is an ability that powers up his grass moves when he's at 1/3 HP or below. And I also lower my own defenses with close combat, so I just take a lot more damage. But if I were to not have taken that hit, that wouldn't have been a problem, because even if I'd have been hit by a grass move at low HP, I would have been fine.
Do we have time for a quick donation?
Yeah?
Okay, we have an anonymous $5 donation. It says, hello, I've donate for the GDQ, so I'll make one for you too. And also because children are our future, so we have to protect them. Salut, un petit en français en passant aussi parce que Poké Rap. Bonne chance les commentateurs. So I'm assuming they want you to do the Poké Rap if that's going to happen.
So, jeez. I don't actually know the poker app, sorry.
Yeah, that might be a bit of a struggle.
Thank you anyway, Anonymous.
So we got a little rival gauntlet here. We haven't fought Shauna for a long time, not since the beginning of the game, where I fought her Froakie. The sad thing is, she is actually even easier now than she was then for Lucario. At least back then she got a hit in. This time she unfortunately just gets swept by Lucario. This is where it kind of comes into play which starter you pick. Because her Greninja is part dark and it goes down to an Aura Sphere. If you'd have picked, say, Fennekin, she'd have a Chestnut by now, and Chestnut wouldn't go down to any of your moves. You'd have to use Sword Dance and then Close Combat, and then that would be another Close Combat PP down the drain. Tiano's not so bad. If I was at higher HP, I would Sword Dance on Crawdaunt because it would probably Sword Dance as well, but since I'm at under 100, it will go for Crab Hammer and kill me if I give it a chance, so I'm just going to KO it with Aura Sphere. I need to set up a Sword Dance for his Rose Raid, because it resists my Close Combat. The only move Rose Raid has is Petal Dance. Tiano, you know, as you recall, Tiano's thing is that he likes dancing, and he literally he's so committed to his craft that Rose Raid only has that one move, Petal Dance. That's all he needs. Don't need extreme speed. I'm already really fast, and I need the other moves for coverage. I get a timely heal from Trevor here. Trevor is potentially the worst of the three. Again, I have to set up a Sword Dance. His Raichu can really mess you up if you get unlucky. If you miss Rock Tomb, or if you can get paralyzed from. Well, I mean, it always paralyzes you with Nuzzle. That's a 100% paralysis chance. But it could go for Thunderbolt, and that can paralyze you as well if you're unlucky, like happened right there. That's a good time to use one of my full restores, actually.
Time for another quick donation.
Hold on a sec, maybe just after this fight. So the reason I go for Rock Tomb there is, again, because it's not a contact move, so it will not trigger static. Aura Sphere does not actually kill Raichu, so I need to go for that Rock Tomb. And the Sword Dance was for that Florges there, so I can knock that out with a Close Combat, and then I just Rock Tomb this Aerodactyl, and that's that. You can read out the donation now if you like. Shauna gives me Waterfall here. I don't actually need it though. If I did need it, I could just teach it to Lapras and be done with it, but there's no point in this game where you need to climb waterfalls to beat it. It's just like for optional side things. Now this is where the final gym is, but I can't go there immediately because the gym leader is not actually there. So he is in the Pokemon Village, which is through these woods here. It's a bit of a labyrinth, I guess, but it's not too long to get through. As long as you remember where you're going, it's fine.
Yeah, the entrances join in a way that makes sense, but you can't see where each one goes until you actually go through it, so it's really just memorization.
We have a $5 donation from Anonymous. Sorry, it's Pokemon Speedrun time. Thus we must praise Helix.
Here's the final gym. It is themed around the ice type. To be honest, I never really understood why they like to. Whoops! What I meant to do there was go diagonally and hit her, but whatever. I never really understood why they put ice gyms so late on, because it's such a terrible defensive typing. It's weak to a bunch of things. The only thing it resists is ice. So if you have anything moderately powerful, then you shouldn't really have a problem with this final gym. Pretty decent offensive type, so I think it would be pretty good early on. But yeah, it's weak to fighting, so Lucario pretty much has a field day here. Although it can't take out everything with Aura Sphere, to be fair. There are a few things that you have to use other moves for. And the idea of the puzzle is that you're supposed to rotate these, I don't know what you call them really, they're some kind of strange platform things. So that you can progress to the end of the gym. Like, this guy has a Delibird. I mean, come on. Who puts a Delibird in the final gym? I'm sorry, but... I mean, it's neutral to fighting, and I can still one-hit it with Aura Sphere. Get out of here.
He also says freeze right there, just trying to slip a pun in there.
Oh yeah, Pokemon loves their puns. You've frozen my heart solid. Just got to push this pink one again so that I can reach the middle platform.
Sort of an obnoxious puzzle, but I mean, fairly basic. Just time consuming to watch the animation of the platforms going around and around.
Yeah, you get the sense that they were really excited about, this is 3D, you can show off all kinds of things with this. But anyway, this Cryogonal has a lot of special defense, so it doesn't always die to Aura Sphere, so you got a better chance of killing it with Rock Tomb instead. Rock Tomb always kills, but obviously it has that chance to miss. This Jinx is part Psychic type, so it is neutral to fighting, so I'm going to use Close Combat on it because Aura Sphere will not KO. And because I use it on the last turn, I don't get the defense drops from it. So that saves a bit of time to use it on the last turn as opposed to, say, against that Cryogonal earlier. These things look pretty fearsome. Like you feel like if you give them a turn or two, they might actually do some decent damage, but they never really get that chance.
Yeah, speaking of the offensive benefits of ice, of course we saw that way far ago back at Gym 2 when that Omora, well, I mean, it didn't actually use an ice move
Wait, hold on.
then, but you could see it.
Made a mistake
that
there. I
takedown.
was just supposed to hit that once. Is that? No, I need to hit it a few more times.
Yeah.
That's my bad. Just hit it a few extra times. I was only supposed to hit it once and then hit the green switch a few more times.
Oh well. It's being solved now, so the green one, and that should be it finally.
You gotta hit the green one 3 times in order to reach those stairs.
Time for the gym leader then.
Yep. Talk to Wolfrick's left arm and then give him a battle. Pound the thick fat on my belly drum. Shoutouts to Gen 4. This is basically the only damage you take in this gym. Abomasnow's ability sets up Hail, which deals damage to all non-ice type moves at the end of the turn. But it's not a big deal. Again, he has a Cryogonal. This time I'm going to close combat this one, because I have enough PP to do that. And it's more important to KO this Cryogonal so you don't take another round of hail damage. Zavalug has a lot of defense, but not very much special defense.
It's an absolute tank on the defensive side, something like 200 defense, but then...
It's just the typing that really lets it down though. Defensive ice types just in general do not work very well. But yeah, there we go. That is the final gym badge. Which means that we have everything we need to face the Pokemon League. But first of all, we got to get through Victory Road to get there. And luckily, Victory Road is not too far away. Just have to head off to the left of here. Spinner just here. There we go.
This is actually just to the right of the city with the first gym in it. So the ultimate like fantasy for a glitch for this game is one that allows you to flip past at least this guy and then I suppose the door after him to reach Victory Road after about 20 minutes into the game.
That's the dream, certainly.
You would definitely struggle a lot trying to beat the Elite Four, but I mean, you would probably start by catching stuff in this area and then see where it takes you.
Yeah. Again, I Rock Tomb this Raichu to avoid static. And actually, if I was one level lower for this Raichu, Rock Tomb would not be a guaranteed KO. So these levels are still important, even when I'm like 10, 11 levels above these guys. I wonder if it actually checks your badges. There's a few like badge check situations in other games where they say, "Oh, we're going to check all your badges," but it doesn't actually do that.
Yeah, the Heart Gold run at the SGDQ just gone was a pretty stark example of that one.
Oh, the 8 badges of Johto.
Yes.
Do we have time for a quick donation?
Yep.
All right, we have a $5 donation from Shadow Wolf saying, Gen 1 and Gen 2 have Manips. Gen 3 is just great. Gen 4 has the great story, Gen 5 has even more mana, and what does Gen 6 have? The awesome 3D graphics. Good luck, Garfield, on the last part of the run, and don't forget, Lord Goomy is always with you.
Nobody actually donated for Gumi this time for any names. I was a little bit surprised for that.
Yeah, they held off at GDQ as well for the most part. There's a little bit, but
They're just stockpiling their money for the next, you know, for the next big sweep, I guess. Alright, so at this point I'm gonna not use a max repel, it's already up. I'm gonna teach Shadow Claw back to Lucario again. There's a few ghost types coming up that I need this for. I can't hit ghost types at all with my fighting moves, so I'm gonna teach it over Aura Sphere. I need all the coverage I can get at this point, and I'm also gonna just heal up for this next fight as well. Here's that one rock I need to smash just coming up here. If I didn't have Rock Smash, I'd have to fight that trainer. He has 3 Pokemon, so it's definitely not worth fighting him.
some pretty tight margins on the trainer dodges here when you're first learning the game. But nothing a little bit of practice can't.
Oh, that was my bad there.
Unless you bump the rock.
Unless they bump the rock, yeah.
No individual trainer is going to be a huge threat though.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about teaching Shadow Claw earlier is that I should just be able to knock this thing out in one hit, I think. I mean, I've not actually... No, I don't remember having hit this girl before. Okay, well, it still survives, but no big deal.
Oh.
I get burned, but I can still KO with another Shadow Claw. It does mean I'm going to have to heal again.
I think I've cursed both the optional trainers in this run so far, because I mentioned the diagonal movement early on yesterday, and then talking about the Victory Road dodges today.
Dang it, the bomb.
But, oh well.
It's alright, you're keeping it interesting.
Yeah, I would say not enough else has gone wrong so far compared to what you would expect.
Anyway, I forgot to use the candy, so it's almost a good thing I fought her, because it made me remember that. Pretty important to use that rare candy there for the next battle. Okay, this guy, he only has an Espeon, so it's not a huge deal if you hit him, but he was the one I was more worried about hitting than that girl. This boulder can sometimes mess you up, because even if you use strength right next to it, sometimes it just like, you have to go back and then go forward again to actually push the rock. It's a bit strange, I don't really understand why that's a thing. So here's the final battle against my rival. Got a lovely sky in the background here.
The woman he just passed does give free heals, but it's not necessary until after this battle, or not necessarily at all, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it after the fight just to restore PP mainly. Just need 1 sword stance this time. Steadfast boost doesn't help at all this time around. If I didn't get Fake Out, then I'd still be faster than Jolteon, barely. But I would be a little bit faster.
Do we have time for a donation?
Yeah?
It's quite a long one, so if you want me to stop, just say.
Okay.
It's a $2 donation from Noir XTX saying, "Did you ever hear this tragedy of Dark Plagueis the Wise? I thought not. It is not a story the Jedi would tell you. It's a Sith legend. Darth Plagueis was a Dark Lord of the Sith, so powerful and so wise, he could use the Force to influence the midichlorians to create life. He had such a knowledge of the dark side that he could keep the ones he cared about from dying. The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural. He became so powerful. The only thing he was afraid of was losing this power, which eventually, of course, he did. Unfortunately, he taught his apprentice everything he knew. Then his apprentice killed him in his sleep. Ironic. He could save others from death, but not himself.
There's that free heal. Now you're gonna see a bunch of ghost types coming up, which basically validates my move to teach Shadow Claw. This guy, he leads with a bayonet, and if I don't get the damage range, it will paralyze me with Thunder Wave. So even though I need to set up a Soul Dance for his second Pokemon, I'm actually just going to go for the range on bayonet, because what bayonet can do to me is much more annoying than what his second Pokemon, Leafeon, can do. I got the range, well I got a crit, so nice safety critical there.
Crits can be kind of unwelcome a lot of the time in Pokemon speedruns on either side, but whenever it's damage range, you don't mind it normally.
And Leafeon was nice to me there, just used Sword Stance, didn't do any damage. Now I need to go behind some rocks here, but you can get an encounter. Okay, there isn't one. You can tell you're going to get an encounter or not by if there's a shadow there. And if there is a shadow there, it's actually faster to... Like, in general, it's faster to go back in the cave and then go out again to try and refresh it so that you don't get the encounter there. Anyway, this guy also has a ghost type, Trevenant. Again, I'm going to be using Shadow Claw, because Trevenant can go for a move called Curse, which... cuts his which does half its max HP and damage, but lays a curse on me that takes away a quarter of my HP at the end of every turn. So that's commonly what it goes for, and there it is. So I'm going to take a quarter of my max HP and damage here. Now this Gigalith, this is where Hawlucha comes back with a vengeance. Because it can KO me with Earthquake. It might not go for it because it's not guaranteed from there. You see, it went for Protect, but Gigalith has Sturdy, so I need to break it in order for my close combat to KO. If you went around earlier, then Sturdy ensures that the Pokemon survives an attack from full health. It might go for Protect here, but thankfully it didn't.
Hawlucha, with its final use, pretty helpful.
Yeah. Our Gigalith is just super slow, so even, I mean, my Hawlucha was pretty fast this time, but even with a slow Hawlucha, it still would have outsped that Gigalith.
Yeah, Hawlucha pretty much ends up being the perfect Pokemon for that role. Flying type to dodge Earthquake, which usually comes in, obviously not always, but most of the time will, and then the speed to get that 1 point of damage.
Yeah, it probably is 1 point of damage too. Gigalith is pretty defensive. Speaking of defensive, this guy leads with the Skarmory, and that's a very defensive Pokemon. Again, it has Sturdy, but even if it didn't have Sturdy, it wouldn't actually make a difference because I can't KO it in one hit with anything. Well, I mean, it would make a difference because I'd just Sword Stance first, I guess, but I'm just going to Shadow Claw into close combat.
Yeah, Aura Sphere would do a decent chunk, but probably still not actually kill besides Sturdy anyway.
Yeah. And then I can just... I have to make sure I leave one close combat at the end for this guy's Umbreon. Very defensive Dark-type Pokemon. And that's the end of Victory Road.
Time to get rid of the dead weight.
That's right. I'm gonna PC heal Lucario again, and just gonna bring Lucario in on his own into the Pokemon League. If I wanted to be safer, I guess what I could do is take another Pokemon in with me, but you know, where's the fun in that?
Strictly, this is faster only for one little bit at the end, which does matter in an attempt, probably more than a marathon run where you might choose to beat the trainer instead of losing to them anyway,
But like, I'm gonna save for all these guys, so even if I die, just reload the fight. This is a feature that was introduced in Gen 5 where you can pick whichever you can fight the Elite Four in whichever order you want, which is quite cool for routing purposes. I fight Malva first, the Fire type Elite Four member, because I don't need any extra levels for any of her Pokemon. Everyone else, the levels help in some way. And I need to be at full HP for Malva anyway, so it's nice to just fight her first when I've just PC healed to full rather.
yeah, I mean it's fire type, so you'd expect it to be doing quite a lot of damage to you offensively, but it's not quite enough to one-hit kill, and you're also doing a lot of damage back. With either Rock Tomb or Close Combat, depending on the Pokemon.
What's nice about her first Pokemon, Pyroar, is that it has the rivalry ability, which, if I was the same gender, it would deal 25% more damage with its attacks, but because I'm a different gender, it does 25% less damage with its attacks. So Flamethrower will put me in the yellow. Even a critical hit might not kill me. We'll see what happens though. Went for Noble Roar, so I'm going to Close Combat now, and that'll be enough to take it out. Noble Roar will drop my attack and special attack by 1 stage each, but that's not so bad. Talonflame I need to hit a Rock Tomb for because it's part flying. Torkoal is a very defensive Pokemon, so I need to set up another Swords Dance, but an Earthquake from Torkoal, which is the most powerful attack, will not KO me from here.
Yeah, and that's a -1 defense Earthquake as well. It's not all that strong of a Pokemon in general. Oh yeah, and of course Shadow Claw on Chandelier.
Yeah, I don't have to risk a Rock Tomb there. It does have the ability Flame Body, which means I could get burned if I made contact with Shadow Claw, but I mean, it doesn't really matter if I get burned here. I'd rather get burned than not die, because I have to heal for the next fight anyway. Yeah. If I was at full health, I might risk the Rock Tomb so that I get a better chance of not having to heal for the next battle. And the next trainer I'm going to be fighting is Wickstrom here. He's the Steel type Elite Four member. And it's nice to be, after you beat Klefki, you're going to be level 74 for Probopass, and that gives you just enough defenses so where a combination of Dazzling Gleam plus Earth Power will not KO me. And it also you often end this fight at a range of HP where you can just go straight into the next Elite Four member without having to heal.
AI abuse is actually pretty important on Wickstrom because he has some pretty annoying stuff that he can do if your health is at the wrong point.
Yeah, the important thing is your HP has to be fairly low in order to avoid a certain move. His Klefki can be quite annoying because it has a move called Torment, which means that I can't use the same move twice in a row. It goes for it fairly often. I'm kind of expecting it, but ideally he would not go for Torment, and I could just use 2 Soul Stances. They'll need to be at +4. Okay, it went for Dazzling Gleam, so that's nice. If it goes for Torment this turn, that's pretty good. Nice. Okay. That's good. That means I don't have to heal, and I can just use a couple of use Close Combat right away, and then this Probopass has Sturdy, so I have to weaken it with Shadow Claw first, and it'll put me at low HP with Earth Power. Because I'm tormented, I can't finish it off with Shadow Claw. I have to use another Close Combat. But being a low HP, this means that Aegislash will not go for King's Shield. it'll try and go for the kill instead. If it went for King's Shield and I attacked it with a contact move, my attack would lower by 2 stages, and that would be absolutely awful. Now this Scizor has a priority move in Bullet Punch, which it will probably go for. Sometimes it doesn't. I kind of hope it does though, because if it does and it doesn't crit me, nice, okay. It should mean that I can go into the next fight without healing. That was quite a high roll, but I think that might be alright for the next fight, and if not, I can heal in battle anyway. So that was actually a pretty darn good Wickstrom fight.
Yeah, that's about how you expect it. Oh, it can be a bit worse if it uses Torment turn 1, but it's not all that unlikely to get a decent Wickstrom fight with current strats. There used to be a bit of a run killer back before the AI was understood properly, or before it was routed as it is now.
So the next trainer I fight is Drasna. She's not that difficult, but I want to be level 74 for her Dragalge, because that means that I can always KO. I can guarantee the KO with Shadow Claw at +4 attack. And also, if I fight her after Wickstrom, I shouldn't have to heal to full. But we'll see how the fight goes. It will depend on how much damage her Dragalge does to me, as to whether I need to heal or not. That's fine.
Yeah, it has both Surf and Thunderbolt, which do roughly the same damage, and you want to see Surf slightly more just because it doesn't have the paralyzed chance, but otherwise there's no other difference.
So you want to be, for this Drudagon, you want to be at 25 HP or higher, because it has the ability Rough Skin, which means that if I hit it with a contact move, I will take 1/8 of my max HP in recoil. So I just have to make sure that I'm above 24.
Had to hit the Rock Tomb on the Altaria as well, I suppose. But
Yeah, or you can kill with Shadow Claw, but it's a damage range, and Rock Tomb has a better chance of hitting than Shadow Claw does of KOing.
yeah. I mean, that's pretty much the case for any damage range of a one-shot kill, though if it's a damage range at all, it will be worse than 95%.
Yeah, because it's like, it goes in 16ths in this game.
So if you can guaranteed kill with Rock Tomb and not guaranteed kill with another move, you'll nearly always pick Rock Tomb.
So this is a big one. This can be quite the run killer, this guy. And the return of the problem Pokemon right here. We've seen him before, plenty of times before. I'll give you a hint. This guy is the Water type Elite Four member. So we don't have any of our buddies to help us out. So just got to do it with Lucario solo, and so that means we're going to be doing something a little different. So I'm going to be using an Ether to get back my close combat PP, and then, after all this time, we're going to Mega Evolve. We didn't do this since the very beginning of where we got Lucario, but now we're going to use it one more time. So, Mega Evolve here, KO the Clawitzer with close combat, and this gives me enough defense where I can usually, almost always survive an Earthquake from Gyarados, and because I usually survive an Earthquake, it should go for Dragon Dance, which raises attack and speed, but I'm still faster, so I can knock it out with a close combat. I could go for Rock Tomb equally, but because of my adaptability boost, which is what my ability changed to, my same type attack bonus is ×2 instead of ×1.5. So that means that close combat has basically the same power. The not very effective close combat has the same power as a super effective Rock Tomb on that Gyarados. But that was a damage range as well. It was 11 out of 16, around 69%, so luckily I got it and was able to get through one of the scarier endgame fights. Actually the scariest endgame fight.
Yeah, it'll take quite something for him to die to the next fight, and then... Well,
yeah, and the next fight is the champion, so I'd like to know if we made the incentive for the animations.
Unfortunately, our incentive hasn't been met.
You know what, that is fine, because it is faster to do it without animations anyway, so... Gotta save the frames, right? Nice thing about ending with Seabold is that if Gyarados goes for Dragon Dance, you don't take any damage. So, and you need to be at full health for this fight. So you can just go straight in there.
Little odd split. The wireless message had kind of half come up there as you were entering the fight.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that'll be just because it saves, I guess. Oh look, it's Hawlucha again. Buddy.
One last appearance. Can do a decent bit of damage, but not one hit kill, so don't mind at this point.
It's went for Sword Stance anyway. That's the best thing it can do. It can go for Flying Press, which will put me in the yellow, so it does about 2/3.
Yeah, Flying Press. All the way back from before, you remember it's both fighting and flying type. Well, the flying part is neutral on Lucario, and the fighting would be super effective, so it just does normal super effective damage.
The final thing that can go wrong here is, well, besides misclicks or anything, I need to hit one last Rock Tomb. If I miss it, I'm not dead, but it'll be interesting. So let's see what happens. It's this Pokemon. I need to hit Rock Tomb on Aurorus. And I got it, so there we go. Aurorus goes down, and that's basically the battle won at this point.
Your Geist has Shadow Sneak, so combined with damage from Aurorus, it can do quite a lot because you're at -3 defense, but at full health, it's still not actually going to do anything.
Yeah, it'll go for something like Phantom Force or Trick or Treat at full HP. I'm gonna send her her Pokemon she Mega Evolves out last, like Lysander did, but it's just gonna go down to Shadow Claw. And that's the champion down. Now the game's not quite over yet. This game introduced a little bit of post-champion gameplay.
Yeah, it's not the first either. Pretty much every game following this one has had a kind of post-champion gameplay segment. This, fortunately, is the shortest one of the 3 sets of titles so far that have had them. So I won't be waiting around for too long.
Everyone who helped me. Literally one Pokemon. Didn't have any other help. Nope, not at all. Meeble Bay. Congratulations. No, but for real, couldn't have done it without my other party members. Even Bulbasaur, you know, took up the space, shoved Xerneas out of there.
Appeared in battle once to immediately take an earthquake.
Yeah, well, it took one for the team, you know.
Yeah. Interesting that every Pokemon appears in battle except for that Xerneas now.
Yeah.
I suppose it was everyone apart from the Kanto starter before. But you finally found a use for it.
So this is a celebration for us having beaten Team Flare. I'm not entirely sure what anyone else did, but I certainly deserve my medal. Yay! We did it! And here he is. The 3,000-year-old legend himself. AZ. One final showdown. Dude, no, I clicked. Oh my god, I clicked Source Dance. Oh, jeez. Ugh, no way. Just kidding. That's actually the fastest way to clear that fight. That's basically the entire reason you take Lucario in there on his own. Saves about 25 to 30 seconds-ish. I forget exactly how much